Okay, good morning, distinguished guests, excellencies, colleagues, and participants. As we embark on day 2 of this transformative gathering, let me begin by reflecting on the incredible moment that we generated yesterday. I think day 1 was true testament of the power of collaboration and collective ambition, and it brought together unparalleled enthusiasm for technology development, advancement of green skills, and the pursuit of green innovations. The depth of insight that was shared and passion exhibited by all of you highlighted the sheer potential we have to shape a more sustainable and equitable future. So today we will look forward to focus shifts from ideas to action.
Also, and thankful for Prince Tony, Justin Tony, who invited me to the
So today we need to move from ideas to action, from envisaging what is possible to implement projects that will make a tangible difference on the ground. That is where we want to work today. And today we have plenty of examples coming up from the practical research and implementation that will follow up on the discussion of green innovation and would also able to translate our real world aspirations into applications of sustainable agriculture, carbon removal, and then how we can make ourselves climate resilient. We know that we are vulnerable to climate change, but we need to benefit from the breakthrough of such technologies and the knowledge and the past experience, but also forecasting the future for us. And we must empower communities to take ownership of such practices and generate meaningful social, economy, and environmental impacts. And so it will require commitment, persistence, and collaboration. And therefore, we look to address local challenges while contributing also to global challenges. And the channel and the enthusiasm that we create today for concrete outcomes should remain altogether from the groundwork to the end of that journey, which would maybe never end but continue with our generations. So I will stop here and I look forward to the productive and action-oriented day 2. I will hand over to welcome Justin, Prince Justin, as our GSFN, Ufa-Gsfn partner to give 2 words for welcome. Thank you. And I also see Queen here now, so followed by Justine, we will hand over to Queen. So Naya, you can invite her. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Renuka, the CEO of Global Sustainable Futures Network based in UK. We are going to hand over the floor in a moment to Queen Aji, Marie-Ange Bilot. She is the Minister of Culture and Historical Legacy of the State of the African Diaspora and the co-chair of the Royal Chamber of the State of African Diaspora. So we're going to hand over the floor to Marie-Ange Bilot, the Minister of Culture and Historical Legacy of the State of African Diaspora. Welcome, Her Excellency.
Thank you. Thank you. Greetings to Dr. Louis George Tin. He will address a message to us this morning. Greetings, Dr. Renuka, Global Chair Gsfn. Greetings, Prince Ajinga, Chair of UFA Cameroon. Greetings, Dr. Gazelle. Greetings, royal greetings to everybody. I just wanted to greet you this morning and say I do congratulate all of you, all of us, Ubuntu, for our invaluable input for impactful change all over the globe. Welcome, great, fruitful, and efficient day of conference to us. I'm looking forward to working with all of you in the near future. Blessings.
Thank you very much, Her Majesty, Marie-Ange Billot from the State of the African Diaspora. So we are going to be handing over to Prince Ajinga, the CEO of Union Farms of Africa and the chairperson of this Global South Summit. So over to you, Prince Ajinga Justa.
Thank you, merci beaucoup. Royal greetings and blessings to everybody. His Excellency, our Minister for the States of African Diaspora, the Prime Minister, Dr. Ufa-Gsfn, His Royal Highnesses, Queen Mother Aja, the Minister of Cultural Heritage, Dr. Renuka, Yusufa Naya, ladies and gentlemen, I'm opening this day today with a lot of joy because yesterday had taught me a big lesson. And the lesson, I will still repeat it. It's the question Dr. Renuka posed to us. Why are we not doing it? And I used to say, Africa is 1,000 years behind. And why are we 1,000 years behind? It is because we feel that we need another Messiah to come. We need another liberator to come. But then when I look around, I see the Messiah in you people. I see the liberators in you people. And one thing that ever baffles me is why is it that as a people, we are unable to collaborate? Because if you look around Africa, that has been one of the colonial legacy that we have adapted so strong. We keep fighting instead of building our communities. And that has been responsible for the underdevelopment of Africa. I'm praying that this summit will be that moment where we are going to change our mindset. You know, nobody can do it all alone. We need to build Africa as Africans. And we need to build Africa with our own hands, with our own resources. And I really want to appreciate Dr. Renuka for the speed we used to organize the summit. It has not been an easy one for the team, especially Dr. Naya, Yusufa. I know that gone through a lot for us to be able to come this far. I really appreciate you. And I think this is just the first stage. We have to continue like this until we are able to realize our dream. So I'm really calling everybody, do not look at this summit like any other summit where we come, we discuss, we have resolutions, then we go and we wait for another summit. This is not going to be like this. We have taken a firm commitment at Union Farms of Africa and at the Royal Chambers of the States of the African Diaspora and at the GFSN that we are going to make our 71 green villages green. And we are not going to do it alone. It's a collective fight. I'm calling especially on those who are supposed to transcend knowledge because it begins with knowledge. We need to change the mindset of our people. And that is going back to most of our speakers who are coming from the research department of various universities. We need to change the way things are done. We need to tell our kids these are the realities of the today that we are into. We cannot memorize theories. We cannot pile our archives with memoirs, or you call them theses, that after those defenses, nobody will ever read it again. But let's orientate those theses, let's orientate those memoirs into small practical technologies that can transform waste to wealth. That is our cry. There is no country in Africa that does not use a lot of their national revenues to import chemical fertilizers that are accountable to the so much disasters that we are having in our countries. You can name all the kind of illnesses that have come as a result of those fertilizers. You can see how the soil is being degraded. You can see all the kind of negative impacts, but yet we are still bent to doing this. You know, when the Russia war started, many people said, oh, Africa is going to die because Russia was the one giving them chemical fertilizers. But to some of their surprises, in a country like Cameroon, it took us 2 months to realize that many kids could not even understand that the bread we consume on daily basis, we can make it from flour, from cassava, from plantain, from potatoes. And when I was growing up, you know, we used to feed our dogs with sweet potatoes. But little did I know that this was a good source of flour. And that is exactly what the Minister of Agriculture is doing today. We're empowering a lot of people to invest in flour. We're empowering a lot of people to invest in agriculture that is being doing in a way that we don't have to depend solely on chemical fertilizers. And now, I was joking yesterday with my father, Kopo. More than 5 years ago, or 7, 8 years ago, he came to Cameroon when we were doing Union Farms of Africa, and we proposed to a locality that we are ready to buy all the waste that the company that is collecting waste, I don't want to mention their name, was collecting and dumping in the cities. And the guys asked us, why do you want to buy the waste? We said, we want to do the waste, we want to recycle the waste, sort them out, and we are able to produce fertilizers to give to the farmers in that region. And after intense consultations for 15 days, the mayor was bold enough to tell me that, Justin, I can't do this with you because you are an African. So I am putting this to all of us as a challenge. We are brothers, we are sisters. I overheard Dr. Yusuf saying that I need to learn Swahili. We all need to speak Swahili. That is our mother language. We all can speak French, we all can speak English, we all can speak Chinese, we all can speak. I was in Marwa, that students are already learning how to speak Chinese, sorry. They are taking a degree in Chinese language. But there's no university in Africa that gives a degree in our own languages. So the language of this summit is waste to wealth. We have to do something very small to get this initiative started. And I'm pleading with the newly recruited ambassadors for the State of African Diaspora. You are not ambassadors because you are expecting money to come from space. You are ambassadors because communities to your countries. And once those people are empowered, tomorrow all of us are empowered. So that is the message I have for us this morning. Let's enjoy the summit with calm mind and let's take it home that as we go, we are ambassadors to transform waste to wealth. Just look around you, there is a lot of waste. Somebody was telling me, even mango seeds. Every day we eat mangoes, we eat plums, we eat all terrible kind of seeds. We throw them away. But look at our urban cities, they are growing at a very fast pace. But nobody cares to plant anything. So there are a lot of waste around us. You just need to focus on one and take it so that with this collaboration, we can take it to another level. Thank you very much for your time. I wish everybody the best of your time with us. Make your notes. We are open to you. Queen Aji is there for the young ambassadors. You can always approach them. Dr. Inuka is here. I'm praying that after this event, she is able to have another office in Africa very soon. We are working on that. Dr. Naya is there. My brother Yusufa is there. So I'm begging and pleading that we all should really, really put our hands on deck to make sure that what we are acquiring here is not going to rot in our libraries. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Prince Gsfn of Union Farms of Africa. We are all ambassadors ready to transform waste to wealth in a different country. So before we move on to the first, before we hand over to the chair of the day, we are going to listen to the speech from the Prime Minister of the State of the African Diaspora. And just to remind us all who may not be aware, State of the African Diaspora is the sixth region of the African Union, created in the year 2018 to bring African descent together who may want to have something back to do in their respective countries. So I'm going to hand over the floor to Dr. Renuka, who will in turn make us listen to the speech, a live video from the Prime Minister of the State of the African Diaspora, His Excellency Dr. Louis Gsfn. Over to you, Dr. Renuka.
Good morning, everybody. I'm very happy to be with you today. I'm very grateful also and thankful for Prince Justin Tenney, who invited me to this summit, the Ufa-Gsfn Global South Summit. And I know we're going to speak about waste to wealth, carbon credits, circular economy, sustainable development, many new items that are so important in our lives today. I have to say that I am very, very Afro-optimist. I do believe that Africa, in 1 or 2 generations ago, is going to be the first economy in the world. When I say so, people think I'm dreaming. Of course I'm dreaming, but these dreams will become reality. Do we know that if Africa was regarded as one country, our DGP would already make us the 4th economy in the world ahead of India? So we are already the 4th economy in the world. Not many people know that. So we are not far from this objective, which will liberate us. However, there is a very important threat. My only concern about the future of Africa is actually climate change. Because obviously, we are already the place in the world which is hotter than anywhere else. Therefore, global warming is something very threatening for Africa. For example, as we know, because of climate change, we've got more and more floods, more and more droughts. The shores of Western Africa are destroyed because the waters are higher and we need to relocate many, many people. That costs a lot of money. Africa is only responsible for 5% of climate change, but 2/3 of the climate disasters are in Africa. In many places, for example, in South Africa or other countries, 20 years ago, you had water in the villages, but no water in the towns because there were no pipes. Today, thanks to development, you've got pipes everywhere, but no water inside. So this is very frightening. More and more wars are perhaps going to happen because people are desperate about water. What can we do? This is, of course, the topic. The state of the African diaspora, of which I'm the Prime Minister, takes that matter very seriously. That is why, for example, we signed a cooperation agreement with a special branch of the United Nations, the UN Alliance for the Sustainable Development Goals. Thanks to this institution and our collaboration with them, funds are made available for the Global South in general and the countries of Africa in particular. These funds are non-refundable funds. because it's not climate business, it's climate justice. So if, for example, I break your car, you will say, Prime Minister, you need to pay because you broke my car. It cannot be a loan, it has to be a reparation. Likewise, we are saying to the countries of the world, the ones who did create climate change needs to repair it, and the funds are now available. So we are inviting all the countries of Africa to discuss with the diaspora to have access to these funds. One of the important topics also is carbon credit market. As you may know, people who pollute have a way to repair the damage they are creating. They can, for example, sponsor and fund forests in other countries. So you pollute X amount of carbon, but you compensate by paying forestry in the world in another country. This is what is called the carbon credit market. However, as usual, there are discrepancies, differences which are actually financial discrimination. Because the ton of carbon credit in the north is sometimes 20, 30, or 60 times more expensive than the price in Africa. Which means if, for example, you have this forestry in Africa and you contribute to save the planet, the reward that you will get is smaller than the reward that you would get if you were in the United States or in Europe for the same exact action. How is that possible? Because we are not united and we are not informed. So it's very easy for people who manage the international carbon credits to say, instead of buying carbon credits in the United States or in Asia, let's buy it in Africa. It's cheaper. Africa is always cheaper. And they don't even know they are cheaper. And if this person is not okay, we can buy in another place in Africa, it's going to be cheaper anyway. So you understand how we may be fooled because of the lack of synergy in Africa and collaboration. This is why I'm very happy to announce today that I have given a mandate to Prince Justin Tani to work with SOAD on the establishment of the African carbon credit market. We are working now with private entities, and I'm glad to say that Prince Tani has signed a MOU with the Royal Chamber of SOAD to make available 1 million hectares of land. So all this land is now available to contribute to this carbon credit market. And we are also in discussions with several countries so that they join the market. And at the end of the day, hopefully, it will be impossible for the countries outside of Africa to organize this climate dumping. The cost will be the cost. It would be the same cost in the United States, in Africa, and elsewhere, and people will have to pay the right price. That is also another way to actually create financial opportunities for Africa while trying to solve or at least mitigate the climate issues. So, as you understand, I have mentioned this collaboration with the UN Alliance. I have mentioned this carbon credit market. And now we would like to invite all the countries of Africa to join these initiatives because opportunities are available, financial opportunities are available, climate opportunities. And that is the only danger for Africa. The only danger for Africa. If we manage to overcome these challenges, we shall be in a position to create prosperity on the continent of Africa. Believe me, let's work together. Thank you to all of you.
Thank you very much, His Excellency Dr. Ufa-Gsfn of the State of the African Diaspora. And to tell all our participants, he was live with us yesterday, but because of some technicalities, we could not get him directly. So the speech was recorded for us all to listen. And the few things I picked from his speech, which if I have to do a recap, calling on us all to be united and create a better continent. And everything is ready from the UN Alliance of Sustainable Development and also carbon credit markets. So the establishment of carbon credit market with Prince Ufa-Gsfn as the head of that African carbon credit market. So together we can transform our continent. So all our participants today is just starting. We are going to hand over the floor to the chair for the day, Dr. Yusufa Musa.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Naya. It's a pleasure listening to the Prime Minister. We are so grateful. It's wonderful. He has mentioned a lot of very innovative, interesting, and motivating aspects that will link us together and make us work for the future. So we are so grateful. Not to waste a lot of time, we are calling on Mr. Tanga Marcel to move on with his presentation, and he will introduce himself and we move on straight away. Thank you so much. Do we have Tanga Marcel with us?
Yes, I think it's available. Monsieur Tanga Marcel, vous avez la parole.
Yes, good morning to all.
Good morning, Mr. Tanga Marcel. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. I'm calling Tanga Marcel, as you said. I'm rural engineer, agronomist, environmentalist, hydraulic expert. What can I say? I want to say thank you. Thank you, first of all, for Modibo Abubakar, the president of LEAD Cameroon, who chose me to represent LEAD during this summit. Also thank Dr. Renuka, Dr. Nayat, Prince Ajinga. Thank you, sir. It's my second time to be with you, Prince Ajinga. We were in the CRTV during CRTV News, and it was powerful. And since today, Cameroonian are sending me a message about our presentation during that emission about Cameroon Global South Summit. Today, I have two presentations, but the first one will be about agroecology as a farmer solution to climate change in Africa, Cameroon case. In fact, I will give some definition. I will present some cases, but more of cases I will talk about Cameroon. I'm in old school. It means that my presentation I sent to Dr. Nayat. I don't know if she can put on the screen. If not, she will share with us.
Just a minute. I think Dr. Naya, please, can you share his presentation, please? Thank you.
You can go ahead while we do the sharing.
Okay, Master, just go ahead. They will share later on.
Okay. Just to introduce, I want the concept of agroecology is based on the bottom on a territorial process, helping to deliver contextualized solution to local problems. Agroecology innovation are based on the co-creation of knowledge, combining science with the traditional, practical, and local knowledge of farmers. By enhancing this autonomy and adaptive capacity, agroecology empower farmers and community as a key agent of change. Rather than tracking the practices of unsustainable agricultural system, agroecology seeks to transform food and system. Can we continue? Go down. Down again. Okay. As I said, okay, go up. Okay. No, you're too up. Okay. Agroecology places a strong focus on the right of women, young, and indigenous people. Agroecology practices are based on the ecological input and process, as well as the provision of ecosystem services. We go down. The concept of agroecology emerged. The concept emerged in the 1980 and was made by the dominant Green Revolution with its tremendous short-term achievement at the time. The negative externalities of the Green Revolution became evident in the year 2000, and to uncover and install a permanent stage of agroecology concept as the promising option of saving the planet and assuring sustainable and resilient food system. He has developed and he has increased, and today the main definition is the one as follows. The down page. Agroecology is the integration of research, education, action, and change that brings sustainability to all parts of the food system, ecological, economy, and social. You see the pictures. The first picture there, you see somebody in his house, he has planted trees who have given him fruit. And there is one of the practices of agroecology. It is transdisciplinary that it values all forms of knowledge and experience in food system change. It is participatory in that it requires the involvement of all stakeholders from the farm to the table and everyone in between. And it is action oriented because it conforms the economy and practical and political power structure of the current industrial food system with alternative social structures and policy action. The approach is grounded in ecological thinking, where a holistic system level understanding of food system sustainability is required. The second picture down there, no, up, just for explain the pictures. See the second picture down there is Douala University. See, in the rectorate, they plant trees, and it's a part of agroecology. Can you go down? Just to say some things about Cameroon agroecology zone. We have a country what we used to call him Africa miniature. It means that in Cameroon, we see all what is present in Africa. Just to present the country where we are located in the sub-equatorial area, and our Cameroon land area is 455,440 kilometers square. Is bound by the northwest with Nigeria, with the northeast with the Chad, in the east with the Central African Republic, with the south with the Congo, Gabon, and Equatorial Guinea. Just to go down, in terms of agricultural climate, soil, and vegetation, Cameroon is classified, or other better still, partitioned into 5 agroecological zones by the Institute of Agricultural Research of Development. As despite this figure, the high variability between the agroecology zone make Cameroon a sustainable agricultural production country for a wide variety of crops and thus a fertile ground for a scaling up of agroecology innovation. Several fruit crops are cultivated by farmers with economy, social, and food value varying across the ecological zone. We have 5 ecological zone area as follow: the Southern Sahel zone. I think Dr. Yusufa will understand me better when we talk about the Sudano-Syria zone in Cameroon. I just present it. I don't want to go more detail as I present. I wrote there. We go down. We have a high Guinean savanna zone. We have a Western highland where I came from. We have humid forest. We have humid forest zone with a monomodal rainfall and the one of bimodal rainfall. We can go down. As I said, come back to agroecology. It brings us 13 principles that I want to set it. The first principle is recycling, including closing nutrient and biomass resources cycle. The second principle is input reduction. The third principle is enhancing soil health. The fourth principle is ensuring animal health and welfare. The fifth principle is enhance biodiversity at field, farm, and land scale. The sixth principle, if you go down, is about enhancing synergy across agronomy or environmental outcome by strengthening ecological interaction and process. The seventh principle is economic diversification to provide greater financial security to farmers. The eighth principle is co-creation of knowledge. The ninth principle is respecting social value and diet, including enhancing social cohesion and putting community-driven priority at the center of decision making. The 10th principle is that, and you go down, okay, the 10th principle is fostering fairness, including ensuring that all food system actors are respectable and sustainable livelihood. The 11th principle that is increasing connectivity between producer and consumer by promoting a local market and short distribution network. The 12th principle is that is strengthening local land and natural resources governance. The 13th principle is that is encourage and facilitate participation of food producer and consumer in decision making. Okay, that is a principle of agroecology. Let's take some of, let's say, 3 agroecological practices in Cameroon. Baucha. Wow, yesterday, one of the speakers really present the matter of Baucha. I just sent a picture how some farmers produce Baucha in their farms and how they apply it in farms. And it's a wonderful. Even yesterday, I discovered in animal food processing, one of Cameroonian was making a food for animals, introduced in a 1% voucher in the food of animal. The second one is aquaponic system. It's a technology that couple tank-based animal aquaculture with hydroponic involving microbiological process using water from aquaculture for plant nutrient and irrigation. And the process are put in place in some farmers in Cameroon. The third one is agroforestry. Some research have proved that in the raw forest, when they plant cocoa, coffee with the forestry system, he absorbs more carbon than a raw forest here in Cameroon. And that is part of agroforestry system that can be reapplied. We have present in Cameroon, the World Agroforestry Centers, who is present there, and they are working hard to promote agroforestry system. When I was in the university, where I was, they opened a faculty branch for training people in agroforestry. Unfortunately, the department was closed with the time. The other one system is a productive intercropping system, who might to be regarded as an ancient tradition cropping system in family farming. But what makes it an innovation is the application of its scientific principle for diversity. I have been told that when you plant beans with the corn at the same time, the corn will give, or maize will give to a beans calcium, and beans will give to maize a nutrient like nitrogen, like that. It's an old system, and is part of agroecological system. Okay, let us look at some challenges of agroecology in Cameroon. There are some constraints, and I think is one of the things that why we are here. A reluctance of the local population to adopt agroecological innovation. Some was practiced by the farmers who are old, but the new generation have some reluctance about application of those ones. The second one is a low level of networking between existing agroecological actors across all Cameroonian, as I say, agroecological zone. We have some actors, but there is not network between the existing actors. The third challenge is limitation of the geographical coverage to small village during the promotion of agroecology. The thing is that when they have a system to promote about agroecology, it's just limited to one side of one area. The fourth challenge is the weak funding channel.
Monsieur Marcel, on mute, please.
Okay. Okay.
Sorry, it was my mistake. So please continue now.
Okay, let me come back and say that one of the challenges is a weak funding channel coupled with the inconsistency of the existing funding opportunities. I thank God that the Prime Minister announced that Prince Jinga will open the credit market in Africa. I really thank God for that opportunities. I hope we will really benefit on that one. The last one that I can mention is that is the law advocacy in favor of agroforestry through education, proper teaching program, and communication channel, including the radio, television, and media. As I first of all mentioned, last Tuesday, we were in the national television with Prince Ajinga, and we cover about 45 minutes. Emission was while hearing by Cameroonian. Okay, by doing so is a call to action. A call to action is that how can stakeholders support and invest in agroecology in Cameroon and in Africa? Emphasize on synergy, collaborative effort to ensure that food security, environmental sustainability in Africa. I heard Prince Ajinga says that we want to be a synergy and cooperative. I think that was, if we implement that one, it will be very good for us. The telethon is inclusive, equitable, sustainable strategy, ensuring that all society members benefit from agroforestry. In conclusion, I paste the picture down. Yes. Yes, in conclusion, you see participants of this summit and Cameroonian are expecting from all the partners their input to promote agroecology. It is a tool in the hand of farmers to react on climate change. Can we do something? You see farmers are waiting on us, and as there, we can do something. Thank you for listening.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Tanga Marcel, for that brilliant and wonderful presentation. It was so amazing. We are very, very happy with that. Thank you so much. And we call on the next presenter to get ready. I don't know, before the next presenter comes, if there are some questions, we may go in for the questions, so we don't have much time. We have just 2 hours to go for this first session, but we have a lot of presenters who are on the line with. Is there any question someone has or a contribution to add?
I would like to just add a few things here. And we have one hand raised. However, I would like to congratulate Marcel Tanga for presenting it in English, because yesterday he mentioned he won't be comfortable, but I feel he is quite prominent in English. So thank you very much for presenting this. But also I would like to reflect on the comments that all has made here, that I think there are plenty of things going on, but they are segregated. So let us come together and make a group of leaders who can then take the voices to the ground level, wherever they have these networks, and increase the enthusiasm and interest in people to increase more effective and productive outcomes of all these. Things are happening. It is only making it more impactful. So, and that is what I think here all the leaders are mentioning, and I think that can be done very easily. And with the technology such as Zoom or any like WhatsApp also, we can have a WhatsApp group for leaders, and then that can follow up. So I would definitely encourage someone to take this initiative and move that forward. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Renuka. If there is no other question, we may move to the next speaker.
I think
there
Dr.
is
Joy
one,
has a question.
Yes, thank
Okay.
you. Thank you, Dr. Yusuf. was very intrigued by this presentation, and congratulations to you for making it. And in the zones, I was interested whether those ecological zones are under the leadership of traditional leaders or chiefs, kings, and whether within that leadership, that governance by traditional leaders, there are ceremonies that interlink with communities because of your low participation with communities. I was interested in finding out if it is a community-based zone that you are talking about. But thank you for sharing this experience with us.
Okay. Thank you so much for your comments. And Dr. Naya, do you have our next presenter whom we wanted to set in? Otherwise, we can move on with Vinod if he's around and ready.
We have the list of presenters, but the question Dr. Joy just asked a very pertinent question, and I'm sure Monsieur Marcel Tanga may have comments concerning Dr. Joy's question or just a word to say. Monsieur Marcel.
Nomba Serafin is here, so we can welcome them.
Okay, Dr. Numbo Kenfak Serafin. Is Dr. Serafin around? Maybe she's muted. Can she unmute?
While she comes, can you allow Accent to respond to the question that Joy just asked, please?
I think they are muted. They might unmute themselves.
Who is CAFIPAR? I've written the names of...
the Queen Mother's hand is up.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. We may allow the Queen Mother to have a word. Maybe she unmutes, yeah?
Yes, yes. I just wanted to give an answer to Dr. Joy Ndwandwe. She is our Dean for the Royal Faculty of Historical Legacy. She is part of my minister, and we work together for the villages, and she is part of the Royal Chamber. I wanted to say that we work together with Prince Ajinga, we work with Dr. Renuka, and for sure today and yesterday, lots of people from Cameroon talked, but our community is international, and for education and everything that are needed for us in the Royal Chamber, for the kingdoms, chiefdoms, we will work together with them, and we will apply everything for all our villages because we are in partnership with them, and that's why we are here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Queen Mother. We are so grateful with that clarification. Thank you so much.
I would ask Dr. Naya to announce few names of the speakers, and if anyone is here, then they can come on board. Are we missing?
So for the speakers, Dr. Numbo will come later. She just mentioned that she may not be able to present now, which is not a big problem. But we have other speakers who are available to speak. We have the director of COP-CA AFIPAD. I don't know if she is around. If you are around and you are a speaker now, could you just please unmute? Or Mr. Kenzon Bertrand, Peke Kuku Leon, Carlos Richard, Nzimbwe Collins, Shekina Roda, if any of the speakers are available, could they kindly unmute and take the floor?
Hold on. I see Carlos here. Who Carlos is here? Like one of the Carlos name.
Carlos Richard.
Is Carlos Richard here?
Carlos Richard Sanko.
Is Patrick here?
There was also Dr. Ibrahim Ashir.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's here. Ibrahim Ashir. I think he's not here now.
No.
Okay.
And Mr. Hassan, someone Mr. Hassan, Mofupan Yap Hassan.
So I'm sure most of them are trying to log on. So while we are waiting on the speakers, we want to once more say welcome to all our participants of this day 2 of the Global South Summit. And so I'm going to give a recap of my welcome notes while waiting on the different speakers. And if you have anything, you can send it into the chat box. We are going to take note of it. You may want to share your contact so that you're included in the WhatsApp group for those who are going to champion the African carbon credit market. Kindly share your contact in the chat box, and we call on the different speakers of the day, Kenfak and the others. VNOT also is going to have a great speech to present today all the way from India. We have speakers from UK who are going to present their speech today, and it's going to be a great day. By the end of this summit, we are going to probably have great, the way forward to transform waste into wealth. So Dr. Yusufa, should there be any person ready to join, the person can kindly indicate. So distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, honorable speakers, it is with great honor and a sense of responsibility that once more I welcome you to the second day of the Ufa-Gsfn Global South Summit. As we gather here in this hybrid summit, we stand at the confluence of opportunity and obligation, poised to address some of the most pressing challenges of our time under the theme From Waste to Wealth: Plastic Recycling, Circular Economy, and Carbon Credit. As a policy expert, I am keenly aware of the critical role that sound policy framework play in shaping sustainable future. Public policy is the bridge that connects innovative ideas with practical implementation, ensuring that our strategies are not only visionary, but actionable and as well impactful. We find ourselves at a pivotal moment in history where the decisions we make and actions we take will shape environmental legacy we leave behind. The present challenges of plastic pollution, waste management, carbon emissions transcend borders, impacting communities globally. And it is through summits like ours that we harness collective expertise, like the Prime Minister mentioned, innovative solutions and collaborative efforts to drive, of course, impactful change. This last day of the summit represents a unique platform where policymakers, industry leaders, academics, and civil society can converge to share insights, explore best practices, and forge collaborative pathways toward a circular economy. The transition from a linear economy to a circular one is not merely an option, ladies and gentlemen, it is an imperative. By reimagining waste as a resource, we can unlock new economic opportunities, create jobs, and mitigate environmental degradation. Our discussion this day will delve into the complexities of plastic recycling, highlighting the need for robust regulatory frameworks and market incentives that can drive sustainable practices. We will as well, ladies and gentlemen, examine the principles of circular economy, emphasizing the importance of designing products and systems that minimize waste and maximize resource for efficiency. Additionally, we will explore the potential of carbon credits as a powerful tool to combat climate change, fostering a low carbon future through market-based solutions. It is incumbent upon us, all the participants as policymakers and thought leaders, to champion policies in our different countries and in Africa that foster innovation, promote equity, and protect our planet for future generations. Let us leverage this summit as a catalyst for meaningful change, inspiring action at local, national, and global levels. I encourage each of you to engage actively, share your insights, and challenge conventional thinking. Let this summit be a beacon of hope and a testament to our commitment to environmental stewardship and sustainable development. I want to extend my heartfelt gratitude to the state of the African diaspora and to all the organizations here present, Ministry of Environment, UFA, and the Global Sustainable Futures Network for their unwavering support and commitment to this cause. Together, I assure you all that we can create a sustainable legacy and turn waste into wealth that will benefit not only our communities, but the entire world. Thank you once more for marking yourself present in this second and final day of the Cameroon Global South Summit. And once more, you are welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I would like to go with one presentation while we are waiting others to come on board. Okay?
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Renuka.
All right. So I will share my screen.
Why Dr. Renuka is doing our presentation, welcome Justin of Rwanda, that is the resident ambassador for the State of African Diaspora in Rwanda, the Union Farms of Rwanda chair. He will come up with a presentation after this, Dr. Yusuf. Thank you for understanding, please.
Well, if someone is ready to present, let us welcome them first. I was just filling the gap.
No, go ahead. Go ahead so that he prepares himself, then he comes after.
All right. Okay. Okay. And you can tell me I can stop whenever you want. All right.
All right.
So I want to talk about why effective engagement is necessary in delivering these energy efficiency initiatives around the world. I'm taking an example of English housing sector, as that was my subject of PhD research. And with that, the knowledge I have got, I have implemented in practical world. And so I want to present the theoretical aspects underpinning these strategic engagement model. Today, what we are doing as a conference is also, everyone here at a top level or at a medium level or at a grassroots level, wherever they are situated, they are the stakeholders of what we want to achieve. And therefore, it is applicable to most of you here. I mean, all of you here. So I would like to go through it. So climate change, what has happened that, today many countries are prosperous, like they have prosperous through technology and so on. And individual prosperity has also grown. Each one can see sophisticated clothing, sophisticated transformation, like transport and housing and many other things. However, and there is also a growth in population, agriculture, and animal husbandry, and many other things. But these things have definitely impacted on carbon emissions and the gases like methane, halocarbons, and so on, which has a, one second, please. Sorry, I think there was a message. Let me stop. Is it anything urgent, Dr. Naya?
Vinod is available for his presentation. There's nothing urgent.
All right. Okay. Would we not like to go ahead? Is he here?
Ma'am, you
Yeah,
finish
it's,
your
it's available.
presentation, then I'll take on.
Well, mine is very long, so I can stop and I can start
No,
whenever
no,
there is a gap.
no problem. No problem.
All right. Okay. So let me just quickly give these few things. So what is happening that we are all influenced by various socio-technical regime in a sense of social construction of the society as well as technological development. We change the way that we communicate. We change the way we transfer or commute. We change the way how we use medical devices, and how we also change the way how we live. And this all is influenced by technologies. And we also give feedback to the technology. For example, when we had these small cassettes of or radio has totally gone away, like we don't use it anymore, and we are now using TV. Why? Because the social users thought that that is more efficient or more helpful to them because it was with graphics and so on. And therefore, we change our social perception with the technology. And that is what it is, socio-technical regime. Now, when we are having this additional requirement of increasing our applications or adaptability to technology which can address climate change, what has happened that we are having simple houses. I'll give you the example of houses, but when we want to become energy efficient, then we will have to look at the space, we will have to look at how we put different engineering into our housing. Yesterday, someone mentioned that we are now having a pelvotic glazing on the windows or on the fabric of the housing. So, and then how we integrate those technologies into our housing. So we need to be adaptive. We need to be increasing our connection with those technologies. However, what is happening that at macro level, many things are imposing this pressure, such as global policies, Climate Change Act, and all these policies are imposing pressure. Whereas at the micro level, many innovations are happening. However, they don't go to market. They don't achieve that diffusion in the market because there is this pressure and the innovation conflict there. And it can only achieve market when everything comes together in a way that it like this, that when the dynamic multi-level perspectives are matched, the global requirement, but also the local applications. When this matches, then only it comes to the market. The technology is diffused in the market and the social acceptance is available. Now, at the organization level, every organization has to change accordingly with different regulations, different technology, and so on. And if we are not a complex adaptive system, that is, if we are not ready to adapt, then we fail. We fail in applying or complying to those regulation. And therefore, each and every organization or individual should be adaptive, should be knowledgeable, should be learning all the time and trying to adapt to the coming regulation, coming environment, coming technologies. And how it happens like this, that we are the agents, and there are agents like non-human agents and human agents. We are human agents, and the regulations or the technologies or the policies, these are non-human agents which influence us how to perform. And then whatever the interaction between human and non-human happens, it comes out as a performance landscape, and that is the system outcome. So we are in a system, and there are system of systems. So if we look at housing system, then transport system, or you can look at a building system, whatever it is. And these are again systems of systems, because they are again interrelated. The land use is the very important aspect here, that where you use the land. Do you use the land for house? Do you use the land for agriculture? Do you use the land to make an infrastructure project? So these are the systems of systems then, and they each other influence. And these all are interrelated, interactive, they are iterative. Everyone is impacted by one another. And there are plenty of failures have been seen because of lack of technical stability or weak regulatory framework. We have seen that carbon credit projects have failed at many places. Why? Because they are weak. The regulatory framework is weak. We have to be strong enough, and enough compliance should be achieved to achieve those carbon credit market. And societal preferences. Society prefers and values long-term trust, confidence, and transparency, and so on. And if we fail in providing those values, if we fail in complying to those values, it will never work. There is also several times that lack of demand, which does not allow the diffusion of technology and achievement of our aspirations. Improper infrastructure and maintenance, unknown impacts of new technology. These all are the failures, and therefore we need to overcome them. And we need to voice and shape our expectations and promises to put into requirements, and then to translate into task. And therefore, networking of all these stakeholders within all these different levels is very, very important. And I initiated these global South, like my global network, only because of this reason, that there should be an integration, there should be a networking of all these areas, stakeholders, aspirations, and values, and all that, to be exchanged within each other, like from each other. And what happens then? These users, we are all users, but there are few experts as well. And therefore, users put their requirement to experts, then try to put into the results. And these results, when we have some failures in these results, they become first order learning, and experts can learn it easily. But however, when these experts again communicate with the users, then there is a second order learning. So we all are, the ambassadors, or when we are here, we become at least expert in one or two areas, and we know that knowledge, and then we take it back to our community to translate that to them. And that is why I call all my GSFN members not members, but coordinators. You are the coordinators, you are the ambassadors, you are the chairs of your own expertise to take it back to the, users. Now, this is something that I am very fond of. Any project, any organization can be successful only if they have 5 Ins. And these 5 Ins are investment, information, initiative, innovation, and incentive. If we have these 5 things present in any project, any program, then it can be successful. And it has to be delivered to the end user. But however, these 5 E's are influenced by many other factors, such as research and development, energy, or whatever. This is an example of housing. So I have put some specific areas of housing. However, many other, even in environmental advocacy, say, for example, you are doing a campaign, you need to understand what the investment is required, what information you are going to give, what innovation is there in there to attract people, what initiative is it, and what is the incentive for the users, and so on. So these 5 E's are very important for any project. And then this is again a list of things, so that is not so important. Again, there are plenty of different factors influencing any system. So here, this is an example of English housing, so I won't dwell into this. However, I would like to say that, whenever we want a change, there are 2 things, objectivism and subjectivism. We need to have clear objectives, but at the same time, we need to have people's subjectivism in it, that will they accept these objectives? And if that is possible, then only we can move toward interpretivism. And I believe in that we can interpret, we have to put an intervention in a way that it is acceptable by others. And that is just a theoretical argument. However, I would like to say, what is happening at the moment. Generally, we are experts in one discipline, and that is called disciplinarity. But when we come together on such plane, we are all experts in different areas, and therefore it is a multidisciplinary network. But we need to integrate all these. We need to understand one or 2 aspects of others to integrate, and therefore it is called pluridisciplinarity. However, when we integrate these theoretical and expert subjects, they need to be put into practical and applicable for the real world. And that is called transdisciplinarity, which is here. And then only we will be able to bring the industry theories or that academics research and the community's aspiration together. So for example, here at the bottom, you can see each one is having a different subject area, which is expertise of each one of everyone, and then that is applied into forestry or agriculture or engineering, that brings several disciplines together. But then we put it into policies or design of a project or program and planning, then that again, all these bottom factors affect those planning policies. And finally, everything is governed by the highest value. And today, our highest value is sustainability. Multi-dimensional sustainability is our highest value, and therefore that governs all our actions. And when we are in such a network, when we are in such a plane, like different disciplines, after moving out of this plane, you will come to a new plane of understanding. Each one will have something new to go to, and that is across, beyond, and between the disciplines. And that is what we want to achieve through this networking or to collaborations and so on. And you will accept something that was missing in your knowledge. One point at every time, today also for me, there might be a point where I don't know that area, but when I know, it is called including middle logic, that I increase my plane of understanding. And there could be several like that infinity planes. And so And there is something called hidden third, which is always there, and we have to overcome it. We have to overcome. We have to go from one layer to other. And there are indefinite layers of knowledge and, understanding the reality. And I may not be, and I certainly sometimes hide away from things which I don't know, but I have to take that initiative to understand and overcome that uh, um, ignorance. And that is what I'm preaching here. And of course, you should be balancing your subjectivity and objectivity. And what happens then? We come to a collaborative structure of problem solving through transdisciplinarity. That is practical, empirical aspects from the knowledge, the experts, then purposive aspects from the practitioners, and the pragmatic aspects from the community. And these all should come together. And I will go, and therefore, we can have several knowledge banks, which is target knowledge from experts and system knowledge from communities. And if we get together, then we can have transformation knowledge that is a practical implementation of a project in real world. I won't go through all these because that is too much, but I will finally have these. I like this the most because that is my own product of my PhD. And what I say here, that there are strategic interventions that are required in real world, and they should be accompanied by certain policies or values. And there should be a leadership to take over that. And I am here to assess, encourage, and also grow for myself in sustainability leadership. And that is how we can then, connecting with our known human aspects, which I mentioned, system agents, like policies at global level or individual policies or organizational policies, and we can transform our performance to better, which would be multidimensional sustainability. And it is an iterative process. We are not going to get the success in one time. It is learning process. It is iterative process. Every time we go through this cycle, we will learn one more thing and we will achieve one more state of sustainability. And eventually it will go on for generations and generations, moving towards more and more sustainable and resilient system. And that is how, this is just an example from English housing, which I have put some from my real world examples here. And that is where I will stop. Thank you very much for listening to me.
Thank you very much, Dr. Enuka. That was a great presentation as a sustainable advocate for sustainable development, and the director or the CEO of Global Sustainable Futures Network. That was very good. That was very rich. And so we are going to move on to Vinod. He is going to present. Yesterday, he did a very rich and good presentation on voucher and waste management. And so, Vinod, you're welcome once more. Vinod is going to present all the way from India. He's our partner from India, and he's going to present today another great presentation. So for the benefit of those who were not there yesterday, Vinod is going to present himself first and give his presentation. And at the end of the presentation, you don't miss this opportunity. If you may have any question that you want to ask concerning his presentation today, or probably on what he presented tomorrow, you are going to be given the opportunity to ask any question you may want from Vinod, and he's going to give you a very satisfactory response. Thank you very much. And over to you, Sir Vinod from India.
Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction. Thank you all of you for being present today. I've been patiently listening to all the previous speakers. Excellent discussions going on. To be honest with you, I'm always a little nervous before I start speaking. So please bear with me for the initial few moments, and then once we get into the flow, I think you should see some improvement in the way I speak and what I'm going to cover. So we are going to be talking about the sustainability opportunities that are there. I'll just share my screen. Is my screen visible? Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
Yeah, it's sure.
All right.
Visible.
So we're going to be talking about the sustainability opportunities in Africa to start with. And towards the end, I will give you a brief introduction about the company I work or I represent over here. I was very happy to see in the discussions yesterday, as well as what has happened in the morning so far, the immense passion with which people are participating in this forum to ensure the sustainability of the African continent. So the topics that we are going to be covering are basically renewable energy, sustainable agriculture, waste management, water conservation, and of course, education. All these things go hand in hand, and each is important for ensuring that the global warming that is already in process is not just stopped, but is also reversed. So let's talk about renewable energy first. Now, Africa as a whole, and Cameroon specifically, has a lot of opportunities for renewable energy. There's plenty of sunlight, which means there's a lot of opportunities for solar farms to come in, solar projects to take off and generate power. The government may need to be more involved in this. It is also possible for private sector or people who have access to fund to take on these projects. And over a period of time, the kind of carbon credits that get generated will offset whatever is the investment that has been done, apart from the fact that the energy gets sold to a consumer. Now, Africa, what we understand in Cameroon is energy deprived, in the sense there is a shortage of energy in most places. So one of the ways to address this problem, instead of going for what the rest of the world has done by going into fossil-based or thermal-based energy, is the use of solar, which is a natural process. There is a lot of technology available today globally at a low cost. And if the farms are large enough, they should be able to power the country as a whole. Yesterday, I was given to understand that there are already large solar plants across Cameroon, which means if we look at the implementation of these solar projects, it should be possible to ensure uninterrupted electricity to the villages and the citizens of Cameroon. The next possible area would be wind energy. Wind energy is also a natural source, a renewable source of energy. You can claim carbon credits here also. And wind energy is again a very, very clean form of energy. Initial investments may be a little on the higher side. You need a lot of land, which is available. You need a mountain top so that you get uninterrupted wind supply, which also is available in Cameroon. Another interesting source is the hydroelectric power. There are a large number of rivers which are there in Africa. Countries like Nepal and Bhutan, which are very small in size, generate a large amount of power. Bhutan, for example, generates close to 1,000 megawatts of power, which it exports into India. So in the African continent, those countries which have good amount of rivers can use these rivers to generate hydroelectricity. And by the generation of the hydroelectricity, you can further claim carbon credits, which is fairly profitable. If anybody has any questions at any point in time, please don't hesitate to stop and ask. We also talked about agriculture. One of the previous speakers talked about hydroponics. Hydroponics, sustainable agriculture basically refers to the less use of chemicals, more of an organic-based agriculture, which means the quality of the food that is produced is much higher. There are many ways in which we can generate better quality of food that we grow, and the productivity will not be hampered by using non-chemical based fertilizers or pesticides to grow the plants. There is a growing consumer demand globally to move into organic kind of food. So not just for the local population, it will also open up an export market, which so far may not have been explored. Agroforestry is another place where we can look at. There is ample amount of land. If I'm not wrong, Cameroon itself has around 168,000 hectares of forest land, which what I was reading is that it is fast depleting, either because of poor maintenance, or because of cutting of the trees, because of rainfall and other natural, harmful impacts. Afforestation projects can be done in Cameroon on a very large scale. This will not only generate employment, it will also help reduce the overall impact of climate change. The carbon credits which are generated from this activity can be sold in the international market, which would result in a good amount of income for the country. So climate smart agriculture is basically the use of innovative practices like precision farming, that is basically the use of irrigation systems, local indigenous crops, native crops or native plantations, which are more used to the kind of climatic environment that is there. They are more pest resistant, is something which we would have to look at. Optimization of the use of water becomes very, very important. So therefore, a drip irrigation would be the best way to take this project forward. By doing a lot of afforestation projects, you're also involving the community at large. This definitely falls under the SDG goals, and it enhances the value of the carbon credits wherever we use community, particularly women empowerment. Waste management, we were discussing about yesterday. Africa is plagued with a lot of plastic waste. Waste, I think we should stop calling it waste. We should call it an opportunity, because plastic as well as the organic waste which comes from forests can be converted into many useful products or processes by which we can do energy generation. We can do yarn. We can convert it into yarn, which makes organic clothes. For example, in some parts of the world, in India, for example, plastic is used to make clothing. In Vietnam, they use the waste of pineapple to make clothing. So if other countries can do it, why not Africa? There is no reason why it cannot be done. The technology is available, the resources are available, we have the willpower in Africa. Why can't we get together and do something like this? In waste, we talk about plastic waste as the major source of concern. This is because in everyday life, we use a lot of plastic. The plastic is just thrown out. It is, some places there is a lot of recycling which is done. In some places, it just goes into a landfill. If it goes into a landfill, you are degrading the quality of the land, which means for many, many decades, that land cannot be used for any other process. So the best thing to do is to collect the plastic waste, put it into a collection center, recycle it into products which do not end up in a landfill. So plastic can be made into small pellets. Those pellets can be made into bottles, shampoo bottles, for example, buttons on the shirts that we wear. They can be used to make furniture. Waste to energy is another very important way which we can utilize the waste that is readily available for us. Okay, so the technology that is required is available today. It is available on a global platform. It is not very expensive to use technology in most of the areas that we are finding a problem with regard to harmful effects on the environment. All it requires is a little bit of willpower and definitely policy support from the government. Wherever possible, if intervention at the government level needs to be done, I think we should do that, talk to the ministers concerned, and get policies implemented which benefit saving of the environment. So policy implementation, we talked about public awareness campaigns. So this would come under education, where we can educate the youth starting from a very small age, let's say class 5 onwards, on why we need to protect the environment. As somebody said before, we have only one home, which is planet Earth. It is our responsibility to take care of our home. If we are not doing that, not only are we endangering our own home, we are also endangering the planet for the millions and millions of animals that are there who are by and large innocent bystanders. Water conservation. This again is very, very important. Africa has a large number of lakes. It has a large number of rivers. It's also a very hot place in most places. And if there is a deficit of rainfall, all of us suffer. We don't get drinking water at home. We don't get water to bathe. We don't get water to cook. So many side effects are there which are harmful to our daily life. Water conservation becomes very critical. I was seeing just in the morning that there are many, many large lakes in Cameroon. Why can't we get together to ensure that these lakes are conserved, that these lakes are used to generate what is known as water credits? Water credits can be monetized in the international market, which will earn revenue for the government or for the community. And that money can be utilized for enhancing the quality of life, quality of education. Many, many ways the money can be used. So one of the ways is, rainwater harvesting by putting in water collection pipes in homes, in offices, and so on. And the better way, or the more important way, is to conserve the lakes which are already there, to make sure that they are not becoming polluting grounds. That is, we don't dump our garbage there. We don't dump industrial waste there. We don't dump plastic there. By ensuring that we follow certain measures, we will preserve the lakes that are there or the rivers that are there. So drip irrigation becomes another very important part when we're talking about afforestation and agriculture-based products. We talked about hydroponics. We can also explore vertical farming. Vertical farming is something which will give us much more yield in a particular area. So if I'm getting, let's say, 10 tons of ladyfinger or 10 tons of green chilies in 1 acre of land, by doing vertical farming, I can enhance that many, many times. So vertical farming is something which needs to be done. Watershed management in rural areas, in all the urban areas, we need to look at rainwater harvesting, which from the rooftops, which can again be used to fill the groundwater or uplift the groundwater which is there existing in that particular area. So having said this and having talked a little bit on sustainability, are there any questions from any of you?
Yes, Vinod, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm just curious, because you talk a lot about this carbon credit, but then again, of late, carbon credit doesn't benefit the South. Apparently, these are Western creatures, and a lot of scheme in Kenya, you name it, the local don't benefit. So how do you make sure that this carbon credit, even as close as in Indonesia, there's big scam coming out to identify the local don't benefit? If the carbon credit verifiers, all that, then how you make sure before even promoting this carbon credit that local benefit? Every $1, if only 10 cents go to the local, 90% goes to those verifiers or that guy. What is in for the African? And
right.
with regard all this vertical farming, we don't need sexy things, you know. Africa can do a lot with the local non-sexy thing, bamboos, whatever it is. But when we promote something, when we promote everything so sexy, and it costs a lot of money, and they end up, these people will be a debt for what you call a sustainable debt, you know, energy debt. And second, with regard to solar panel, the question is, after this 10, 15 years, where these solar panels going to be disposed of? Who's going to do that? And a lot of African countries have been buying all these second-hand solar panel, and it become a hazard, a sort of energy hazard, environment hazard to Africa, you know. Are we trained? How many people are local African are trained? We don't get a chance. People just put up $1 million project, solar panel project, and the local is not trained. The battery, for example, right? Will the local be trained? That's a big issue, you know. Rather than glamoring about solar farming or that, but job is not generated, you know. Why do we go to the basic, you know, like Indonesia? I've had some project on it, and the local people are more sustainable than the rest of them, you know. That's my take. Well, I hope you can explain my question then.
Yeah. So if I understood you correctly, your point is if we use solar panels, what do we do with them in 10, 15 years of time? Because they will be waste and then they will harm the atmosphere, the environment. You talked about vertical farming and that it's very expensive. You mentioned things like bamboo, plants like bamboo. So yes, these are all good things to think about. Let me give you a simple example. We always hear that electric vehicles are not good for the environment because the battery tends to get degraded over a period of 5 to 7 years, and then that cannot be recycled and it becomes a waste which harms the environment. So recently we were talking to a company in India which has done a proof of concept with one of the largest banks in India. It's called Kotak Bank, Kotak Mahindra Bank. They have recycled their batteries and saved the company in Indian rupees 6 crore per year. So 6 crore would be close to $1 million US dollars. So that's a huge amount of saving. So as you are right when you say today, the technology may not be readily available to convert solar panels into reusable panels, or it may not be there to ensure that they don't end up in landfills. But as we grow, the technology will also grow. So I don't believe that we should restrict ourselves into thinking that nothing can be done. Uh, Technology will always change. There will always be advancements which will benefit us in the long run. Coming to vertical farming, you don't need expensive food grade pipes to do vertical farming. Yes, those are expensive, but the output per acre or the output per hectare is far more than doing the traditional method of farming. Now, Africa being a fairly warm climate place, maybe water-based hydroponic farming may not be suitable, but by the use of non-soil based vertical farming, that becomes possible. So if you don't use too much of soil, you use things like cow dung, vermicompost, uh, a mixture of these things, you can reduce the dependency on soil, which increases the weight, and at the same time ensure that you can go 3 to 5 levels upwards, which means the output from one particular area, let's say 1 hectare, will go up 5 times. You don't need an expensive drip irrigation system. A very simple system with a timer can take care of that. Your manpower requirement is very low because harvesting is much, much easier. You can grow a variety of crops, which means you get a better bang for the buck in the same land space. I hope I've addressed your queries.
Sorry, you have
I
not
want to
addressed
add.
about this
I want to add on. I want to
you
add
know,
on
you
this,
haven't
please.
addressed about the carbon credit. I agree with time to go forward. I mean,
Yes.
battery
So
now
I'll
lasts better, you know,
yeah, I'll address
obviously.
that point also. So a few years ago, there was what is called greenwashing, where people tended to fudge the data and get the projects approved. In today's day and age, the kind of audit that gets done, the kind of data that gets monitored, it is not possible to fudge these kind of projects. The third party auditor who comes in ensures that the due diligence which they do in each and every project is so thorough that there is no way somebody can fake the data. Technology is also coming in here, wherein we bring in what is called blockchain and artificial intelligence to ensure that there is no kind of fudging of the data, no kind of cheating on the data, and the data that is required by the registries to approve projects is 100% accurate. We as a company, are working towards something similar where we bring in AI and blockchain to make sure that the projects or the data that comes from us from any particular carbon, water, or plastic credit project is 100% accurate and transparent.
Mr. Breno, sorry, because blockchain, all that, there are areas of discrepancy, you know, because I do blockchain too. All these sexy AI, all that, yeah. But you do it on the database, REDD, whatever it is. Let us be sure that the database to show how many people or this carbon credit really benefit the locals, you know. Right? It's not all about the data, you know. If I get $1, this guy get 10 cents, the local community, you think that's fair? Let's be honest, you know, those people buy Googles or the big guys, they pay lots of money. But will that go cascading to the locals? That's what my question is. And you know, there are a lot abundance of scam going around about carbon credits, right?
That's what I'm
Do
trying to tell you,
African
that
benefit that?
the scams no longer exist. What
Mr.
happens?
Mr. Vino, as only as late as early as is, you know, the Kenya, Indonesia, I can give you, we are voluntary, you know, we look at the data, you know, and we cannot say there's no such thing happening. It's happening on a daily, weekly basis, Mr. Vino. And we cannot hide the fact, like greenwash the whole thing and nothing going to happen, you know, right? Let's go to Kenya, for example, the reason one, yeah. People goes on there, they verify, and the Kenya, the community didn't end that much, you know, right? How much can you provide us the data that how much is carbon credit goes to the locals? How much they benefit of every dollars, 70 cents, 50 cents, 40 cents, put in a database so all the African will be transparent and knows, oh, that scheme, the carbon credit scheme in Cameroon, whatever it is, how much the local get, how much the local benefit. That would be better, wouldn't you? You got all this AI, yeah, deep, you know, whatever it is, the new development that can be done. Right? Data are there. That
Hello.
will be good for everyone to know.
Hello. Vinod, can you stop sharing? And please allow me to intervene. Thank you.
How do I stop?
Let me stop you.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah. Ashari, good questions. Thank you very much. Now, let me tell you something background of why we are encouraging carbon credit. And I am here not to specially encourage carbon credit, but the procedure and the organization that goes in the background of carbon credit. First of all, you will not achieve carbon credit project or its benefit unless you first present carbon reduction project and the proper procedure to monitor and evaluate it. Okay. So first of all, it is important for those procedures and those sustainable practices to implement in that project and prepare the ground. And that is going to the best benefit for the locals. Locals will improve on sustainable practices. Locals will improve in gathering data, which would be then not only useful for carbon credit, but for many other analyses, many other analyses. And that is what we are looking for.
Yes,
You
in
look
fact,
at a wider project, a wider implication of these exercises.
in
You
fact,
should not
technology,
look at the carbon credit because carbon credit, it may not exist in 5 years or 10 years, but the procedure is about increasing sustainable practices. And that is what we want. And we want that locals to understand that they are the part of these and they have to do this. And that is the local benefit. If they
yes,
get
I'll
that,
just
understanding those skills, they are going to stay with them to understand their future and shape the future. And data is very essential. Only because of lack of data, lack of transparency, lack of trust, the carbon credit projects have failed. These are
yes.
intermediate pathways only to go to the better pathway. They are not permanent solutions. Okay?
Yes, I'll just add to what you said, ma'am. With the introduction of Internet of Things, the technology exists to monitor every single thing. So even when we are looking at very large forest area, say 1,000 hectares, where it is physically not possible for a human to check whether the trees are growing, whether they have been cut, whether they are dying because of lack of water, satellite imagery takes care of that. So today we have technology at hand, which is low cost technology, which takes care of all the requirements of a registry to approve carbon credit projects.
I would also add, I have come across many examples at the moment, like, we do not have full understanding of the trees and the species in Amazon, because we were never able to go to that place, never able to see or monitor or research on it. And even after the satellite, pictures, we were not able to get to a spot where, new species develop every day. But with the precision of the technology and the, satellite images and other technologies, we are now able to understand and we are able to see which species grow every day.
Sorry,
So,
Dr. Renuka, sorry again. I'm
yeah.
not questioning technologies, I'm a technology by myself, the AI, the DeepSeek, the technology of the matters, the bottom lines, all this carbon credit, yeah. I'm based in Singapore. I think you used to be in Singapore. There's mushrooming of these carbon credit people, the end of the day, there must be data to say a person does that local African, the community benefit from whatever carbon credit you've been dish out.
Yes, they
That's
do.
a problem, because
Yes.
that has to be can
I
be
completely
accountable.
understand. I completely understand.
Yes.
That is where, we are looking for open source, we are looking for blockchain, and there is a value chain, like it has been developed. There is a
Yeah,
development.
but I'm sorry, I'm not gonna argue with you. I think we are shifting the conversation. The conversation to stake. If I go to Kenya now, with all the scam, you ask these people that matters most, the local community, how much do they gain? The carbon credit being traded, how much do they really gain? That is the
They will
question, you know.
see, it is up to the developer, it is up to the community to share the, this.
Yeah, but the committee is not making the not gaining anything.
No,
That's the whole
why do you
problem
say
about
No,
the
all
no,
these
community?
things.
it is not that
I don't
way.
know about in India, you know,
I,
because the conversation should be, sorry, but the conversation could be the local must benefit.
yes,
It's
They
not the
local are
developers, whatever.
benefited.
But benefit for
they are
what? $1
Maybe,
I
or
don't
$1
maybe,
$2?
understand
one
why you
second,
have to say they're
one
not
second.
benefiting.
No,
One
because the
second.
money that came back to a lot of scam being
No,
done.
listen,
That's the whole
one
problem.
second. Whenever you see the news, whenever you listen to the news, do you listen to the good news more or bad news more? Tell me that.
Mr. Doctor, the bad news, good news doesn't matter. The end of the day, if you go to the African people, right, one good news but 10 big news, so what? We must be transparent. That's why REDD, VERA, whatever the most important thing, there must be a change, a technology, whatever database
Yes,
to
the
go
change will
and
not come immediately. We all have to work on a transparent system. We have to
yes,
work
that's
on.
what I'm saying. You know, transparency. Not only that, you know, not on the developer, but how much is people getting? That's the whole problem.
Can I answer
And
that?
I can list you a number of schemes that the who benefit is not the locals. Sorry
Well,
to say
I
that.
can also
You can
show
do
you
better than
number
me.
of schemes there where locals have benefited. So I
Yes,
don't think
doctor.
that is a
Yeah.
Can I answer that?
Can we not do better
Answer
then?
that, ma'am.
Certainly we
So
can do
in
better
India,
than
we
that
have
one, right?
in India we have a sugarcane plantation, a factory, where there are 20,000 farmers contributing towards the growing of the sugarcane to the factory. Every single of that 20,000 farmers gets his due share of the carbon credit based on his input of sugarcane in tons to the sugarcane factory. It goes directly into their account. All right. So please, the technology exists. We are doing it already, not just in India, in many parts of the world where there is a large community involved. We ensure that the committee gets their due share.
May I please
Thank
say?
you very
Those
much.
days of green
Thank you very
hormone
much.
exist.
And we learn to learn from India.
Thank you,
I'm not,
thank you, thank you.
thank you very
Call
much.
to order. Call to order, please. Call
Ali
to order,
Ashim.
please. Dr. Yusuf, 1 minute. Dr.
Okay.
Yusuf, 1 minute, please. Call to order, gentlemen, please. Thank you so much. We are in a professional conversation. Mr. Ashiri, I really, really appreciate your inputs,
I know,
but we
because I so
should not
caring
use
about
the
the
situation
locals
of
that
Kenya
was sometimes
to
we
generate.
have to really force out.
Excuse me, Mr. Ashiri. Excuse me.
Don't worry, thank you.
Excuse me. We're in a professional space. You should not talk like that, please. I am trying to say that we should not use what is happening in Kenya to generalize in what is happening in the global south. Kenya is just one country amongst many countries. There are 8 countries currently trading with carbon credit in Africa. You need to analyze them before you can make your analysis. Africa has 54 countries.
I will love you if you give
So
me
let's proceed.
my
You
Gmail address
can come to us inbox.
Yes.
You can come to us inbox. You can ever talk. Thank you. You can always contact any of us inbox so that we can proceed with that. There are many speakers waiting to come on board. Thank you so much for your understanding.
So,
Dr. Yusuf,
May I please have the word? Thank you so much for bringing that order. We are so grateful to the contributions done by Vinod, Ali, and Dr. Renuka. I think a lot have been clarified. And when we are moving into a project, we are optimistic. We look at the positive aspects of that project. We are still to implement most of these projects of carbon credit. We are not looking only at the economic benefit of this aspect of the carbon market. We are also looking at the environmental impact it is going to do for us, and also the educational and professional impact it will give to young Africans, women, young people, and the community at large. Because if we implement a carbon credit project in a community, especially let's take an example of a project like planting of trees, regeneration of an ecosystem or an area that was degraded, maybe through mining, by the desert and other aspects. That project is going to be helpful to the community through regeneration of that community, through the environmental importance or environmental benefits or to that community and to the general public, or even to the entire continent and the world at large. So we are going to look at that aspect. We are also going to look at the educational aspect it will give to the people, and then the financial aspect will come later. Or it will come at last, because we are first of all environmental warriors. We are first of all environmental warriors and people who are very, very, very keen to the environment and are looking at positive aspects. So thank you so much for all that. Later on, the money will come in and the community will benefit. So we are very happy that this concept is coming. It's a new concept to Africa. And Africa will surely benefit with that. Looking at the discussion or the speech we got from the PM this morning, the Prime Minister of the State of the African Diaspora, we got a lot of assurance that this market is going to be really harmonized, put in place in a way that it will benefit the entire planet or entire continent of Africa. So thank you so much. I don't know if Vinod, your presentation was over. Do you finish the presentation or you were still to round up?
No,
I
he has
understand that
finished.
other presenters are waiting.
Hello.
Yes.
There is one comment from Alexander and Antwi, and then
Yes.
we have one speaker waiting to come on board. So we
I
need
just wanted
to
to
hurry up with this.
I just wanted to add to what Alexander has said. Bamboo is one of the best plantations to look for in carbon credits or in an afforestation project. One, every 5 years, you can trim the bamboo. It regrows itself, and it is one of the best plants for carbon sequestration. So the amount of credits you get for bamboo are very high. The end use of the bamboo is many. It can go into briquettes, which can be used in factories for running their boilers and furnace. You can use it in terms of furniture and so on and so forth. So bamboo is one of the best projects to look at. So that's it from my side. Thank you,
Thank
everyone.
you so much, Vinod. Dr. Renuka, you wanted to introduce a speaker.
No, I just thought, Alexander and do you want to speak, or it is okay now?
I think it's okay now. Thank you, Dr. Renuka. And my good people, I have shared my thoughts through the chat, which it's very imperative. So please, without further ado, let us continue with the next speaker.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Who mentioned?
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Vinod, thank you, Ashari, for the wonderful contributions. Thank you, Dr. Yusufa. Thank you, Prince Ajinga. So we are going to move on to the next speaker, Mr. Mba Charles. He is going to be talking on waste management. Remember, for us to be able to transform our waste into wealth, we must understand detailing the concept of waste management. I think during Vinod's presentation, he says we shouldn't call it waste, we should rather call it opportunities. So we want to see how we can turn this waste into wealth, turn the waste into opportunities. So over to you, Mr. Mba Charles. You present yourself and then your presentation. Thank you very much. Kindly unmute, Mr. Mba Charles, unmute.
Thank you very much. I am so grateful to be part of this wonderful summit. I am called Mr. Mba Charles from Cameroon, precisely from Atibo. And I'm grateful to represent Clean Future Initiative. And I will be talking on the aspect of waste management and how we can recycle our waste and we put them into great use again in the society. And this will actually reduce the rate at which our community is been experiencing the global warming, and also is going to reduce the expenses that we acquire in running an economy. All right, before I begin, I will be very grateful for this opportunity that you guys have given me today, because actually I wanted to present yesterday, but it was unfortunately that my phone was down, and all my information could not get involved on time. So, all right, I am privileged and profound. I am privileged, and I'm also seeing it as an opportunity to present to you and representing a waste management organization that is Clean Future Initiative to represent this organization in this global summit for global summit, and with all the predecessors and all the important aspects being raised, especially on other aspects like carbon market. I'm so grateful. I am addressing you today with the most confront and pressing challenge that affects every one of us here, that is waste management across our beautiful country, Cameroon, and the world at large. Millions of tons of waste are generated, such as which most of them are unmanaged, and this brings us a significant risk to our environment, our health, and our economy. This reality is not merely an environmental dilemma, also a matter of social justice and economic stability. The demand for urgent attention is needed here. The Clean Future Initiative family believes that the solution to these challenges lies in empowering local community and cooperative society, as well as some other synergy with with uh, with corporate with a lot of equipment in order to in order to sorry in order to enhance ownership of their waste management system. Our our fo- our our main objective here is to empower local leadership and increase innovation in our society. We can transform waste from a burden to a resource as well as opportunities. Our strategy in building a sustainable and reliable future for the next generation to come is profound on the on the principle of reducing, reuse, and recycle of waste in our community, as well as our city, as well as our country and the African continent as a whole. We engage with the household businesses and institutions, encouraging them to adopt sustainable practices that can lead to reducing waste generation, enhancing reused, and improving recycling efforts. Additionally, we are committed to encourage that the waste is generated is disposed of responsibly and efficiently. This will preserve our environment for a better and welcoming generation in the future. Importantly, we recognize the sustainable waste management is not a one-way street. It requires collaboration across all sectors of our society. That is the government, the businesses, civil society, organizations, and individuals. We must all come together to shape our efficient and effective sustainable waste management system. When we align our efforts, we are unlocking the potential for transformative change. As we all look to the future, it is clear that the challenges we face are not unavoidable or are not without solution, but we can also as well say that these challenges are opportunities which will enhance growth in the nearest future and generate a cleaner future for all of us in our planet. The Clean Future Initiative is going to rely its effort in the commitment to play an integral role in this transformation. We invite each of you, leaders, innovators, activists, and citizens to join us in the essential mission. By working together, we can build a brighter, cleaner, and more prosperous future for all Cameroonians and for all Africans, as well as the world at large. Thank you for your attention and for your dedication to make a difference. Together, let us pave the way for sustainable development. Thank you.
That's great. Thank you so much, Mr. Mba Charles. We are so grateful with that wonderful presentation. We are really moved. You have done so well and the information has gone through. We are so grateful. Do we have some people who have some questions or comments to add to that eloquent presentation by Mba Charles?
Okay.
Dr. Renuka, there's something you want to add?
William has raised his hand, so okay. William, please take the floor.
Thank you so much, Dr. Renuka, and thank you so much, Dr. Isifu. Thank you so much for our speaker, Dr. Chasimba, for this fantastic presentation. This is a wonderful eye-opener. In addition to all the speakers, and I want to commend the organizers, right from Dr. Renuka, right from our moderator, through to all speakers, and then the last one as well. Fantastic. Kudos. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much, Mr. William Ubeng, for the remark. And Mr. Mbachas, just to remind other listeners, he represents Clean Futures Initiative. Clean Futures Initiative, they're out with an environmental project on waste management, how to transform waste to wealth. And if you are participating in this summit, you are a partner, you can connect with Mr. Mbachas, you can connect with Gsfn. Like I said yesterday, that today, by the end of this summit, we are going to have a very wonderful surprise for everyone. And I'm not going to release it. We are going to move on to the next speaker. Dr. Renuka is already smiling, but then we are going to release it at the end of the day. So we call on all our participants to stay tuned till the end of today's summit. Dr. Yusufa,
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Naya, for all the encouragement and assurances. We are so grateful and we are waiting for this great announcement at the end. So we have our next speaker, Charles Chick, who is ready to give us a talk. And I want to call on him to present himself and then we move on with his presentation. Thank you so much for listening.
Dr. Yusufa, just now presenter was Charles Chick.
Okay. Oh, okay, that's right. Okay, that's right. And I want to call on to the next presenter. Let me see on the list here. We have, I don't know if Dr. Serafin is available. Dr. Serafin, if you are available.
we have Justin, Ambassador Justin from the State of the African Diaspora, who is ready to present now. Okay. Over to you, Ambassador Justin, from the State of the African Diaspora. Let's hope he's still trying to.
May I please share a suggestion on top of our previous speaker before a waiting speaker comes, if there is space.
Mr. Alexander, that would be great.
Okay. Before, I would like to say a very big thank you for the knowledgeable presentation of our previous speaker concerning waste and its sustainable management. What I want to put across, good people of the world, sustainable waste management is crucial for Africa's environmental and economic well-being. Why am I saying this? The reason is one of the key benefits is enhancing operational efficiency and financial savings. This is just by implementing effective waste management plans, businesses can reduce costs associated with waste handling and also foster efficiency, and even create new revenue streams by converting waste into resources. Here, another significant advantage is safety and compliance, which can be achieved by partnering with waste management experts who ensure adherence to regulations and safety standards. This not only safeguards the environment in Africa, but also protects employees and the community. In terms of recommendations, I may want to speak about one. Customized waste management solutions can cater to actually specific industry needs, such as distribution centers. I must talk of manufacturing and engineering. And these solutions can divert waste from landfills, as well promote recycling, and as a matter of fact, ensure that recyclable materials are processed according to industry best practices. Additionally, green manufacturing and sustainable innovations can play a vital role in minimizing pollution. We all know it's killing us. Water contamination, and I must speak of e-waste, Why? Because by embracing these practices, businesses can reduce their environmental footprint, generate new and renewable sources of energy, and create a healthier environment for future generations. So to address the issue of e-waste, policies and techno-scientific innovations are very empirical. They are necessary to create optimal health benefits. And this can be achieved by engineering conditions for doing more with less resources, eliminating waste and recycling, so to speak. To end, it also essentially to consider the historical and political foundations of waste management and the impact of market violence on the environment and population health. Overall, I must say sustainable waste management strategies can have a significant positive impact on Africa's environment. Typically in the Central Africa and the Western Africa and what have you. By adopting these strategies, businesses and governments can work together to create a more sustainable for the continent. Thank you, and this is what I have to say. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Michael Wanjuzi has a question. So welcome you on board, Ms. Michael.
Thank you very much. Name is Michael Wanjuzi. I'm calling in from Kampala, Uganda. I wanted to say a few words on waste management. Now, when we talk about waste, there are two things we should be thinking of. Should we be managing this waste, or should we avoid the waste by recycling or reusing, or because we should be looking at the easiest way of or the simplest way for handling this waste in our continent. I think managing it is quite tedious and expensive, and we should be looking towards avoiding this waste. I don't know if someone can enlighten us more on those two, on how to handle this waste. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Michael Wajuzi, for the thoughtful questions and your contributions. And then I'm just going to give some quotes, and then we're going to continue some quotes about waste management, how to transform waste to wealth, because that's the theme of the summit. And so as we go through the summit, we should have it at the back of our mind that waste generally should also be termed as opportunities. There is an English proverb that says, one man's trash is another man's treasure. So what another person says is a trash, we can actually make rich out of it. And another proverb by Anne Jordan, she says, waste is a resource in the wrong place. And so you take that resource that is in the wrong place and put it at the right place and make the best out of it. Another proverb says, the greatest threat to our planet is the belief that someone else will save it. The world is counting on you. You can be the main savior of the planet. The issues about climate change, complaining here and there, it starts with you. That solution must start with you. Another proverb says, another proverb generally says, recycling turns things into other things, which is like magic. The point of recycling taking let's say a waste plastic bag that has been, you know, dumped somewhere. By the time you take upon yourself, I want to recycle it, it's going to take something that was in the wrong place and turns it like magic. Before you notice, you see a chair and you are sitting on that chair. Another proverb says by David Suzuki, in nature, nothing is wasted. Everything is recycled. From biochar, we can turn it to fertilizers, biofertilizers. From plastic waste, we can turn them to plastic chairs, and so on and so forth. Annie Leonard says there is no such thing as away. When we throw anything away, it must go somewhere. The waste we think we are dumping gets to somewhere, and someone is going to pick it and make great use of it. And another proverb, the last proverb for this session, says sustainability is about ecology, economy, and equity. So where do you belong? Are you at the part of the waste or the wealth? Let's turn waste into wealth and make our environment a better place. Over to you, Dr. Renuka.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Very, very enlightening proverbs and real practical, suggestions. Thank you very much. I just wanted to give a very simple example here. Of course, this is from Tech Recycle. I'm not advocating anyone. I just wanted to share this figure where it says more preferred is prevention and least preferred is disposal. And I would like to just say that this applies to each and every lifestyle, each and every activities of our lifestyle. And if everyone adopts these principles, then we would be great to go for net zero. For example, like I will tell my own example of clothing. I have like prevention meaning that I have not purchased virgin cloth. I have not purchased virgin cloth for nearly 20 years or more now. Not at all. Not a single cloth is virgin cloth. Second, when I first of all buy only things that I need. So that is, you have to address your needs properly, where you need, what you need, and do you want to need. There is a statistics that every 6 years, one person can buy a denim jeans, and then only we would be sustainable. And what we do, we buy 2 clothes a month nowadays for a fashion. So what we have to understand, is it necessary? Do we really want to buy? And so on. However, these would then impact economy. Like if everyone goes from like myself, not buying new things, then it would impact on economy. And therefore we need to go for recycling because there is already material used so much in the world that we are depleting the material, we are accessing it on it, and therefore we are thinking that it is waste now. And therefore we have to embark on recycling. How we can go towards the recycling process and turn it into circular economy so that our economy also survives. And then recovery, that is again part of the circular economy. If you recover that loss and waste for another use, then that can be our real circular economy. And then finally, even after having all these principles and still we need to dispose, then we need to dispose in a sustainable way that it again gives you something out of it. And so these principles we need to definitely follow. And these are very simple. Try to put it in all your practices, whether you travel, whether you buy anything, whether you go for food or whatever the activities you do, try to understand, apply. There are plenty of examples around the world. Even the Google can help you to get those examples and try to understand this hierarchy. So thank you very much. I wanted to just share that. And I also want to just add 1 or 2 things here, like Michael and Alexander, and these all people are from the nearly from the first day of GSFN. They have joined us. They have grown so much through GSFN. They have been establishing several sustainable practices and the principles and the advocacy around the world. And I'm so proud that these all people are here today still to support GSFN. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Renuka, and everyone. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you, Dr. Renuka, for that those thoughtful words that you just shared. We are going to proceed slowly but surely. We are getting there, and then as time goes on, the summit becomes more interesting.
Okay, I see here Ms. Ruth has come on board and she would like to share something.
All right, Ms. Ruth, you are welcome on board.
I think we should invite Dr. Giscard. After him, then Ruth can follow.
Okay, while waiting on Ms. Ruth, we are going to call on Dr. Giscard. He is going to be talking about carbon credit. He's into the business of carbon credit. So those who think carbon credit is still a myth, let's follow on with Dr. Giscard's presentation to see the reality of carbon credit. So Dr. Giscard, you have the floor.
Okay, thank you, Naya. I don't know. I've been in another meeting. I've not have a presentation yet. But I can talk about what as Agesh organization, civil society organization in Cameroon, as a part of the staff working in the landscape restoration management. I can say something about the carbon credit because we are leading some international communication on carbon credit discussion with also partners. So we want to engage in carbon credit in Cameroon. So this discussion is about for 5 years today. But if we can stay at the start, Agesh, which is a civil society organization in Cameroon, is based in Southwest region. And we, when they talk about carbon credit, they also think about the benefit of the local communities that are based in the area that carbon credit that need to be evaluated. But we will take the carbon credit from forests only. We can see now most of the communities in Cameroon living in the forest area face this problem of forest land use plan. When there's no proper land use plan, we cannot talk about carbon credit without beneficiary to the ownership, to the people that own the area that the carbon credit need to be evaluated. So Ajesh first contribution is to train community on how they can participate in the sustainable land management and also influence the law on the management of land in Cameroon, the law, the management of natural resources. Because if we take, for example, the about 3 partners, international partner that has come on, we have been discussing, on how to make a carbon credit project in Cameroon. We always face problem of land tenure security. First, we took a community forest, how community can benefit from carbon credit from community forests, which is as in Cameroon law, something that is already a space that is already for community use. But they say 30 years, if you look at the changes in the forestry law. But after now, when we're discussing with partner, we see the level of the degradation, we see community participation in the level. But at the end, we see that maybe after the 30 years, what next? Because the law say 30 years renewable. That means the land is not forever for the community. That means if we engage in the carbon credit, community may lose the area after the 30 years because government is not, is the land, the law is not really giving the space for the community for forever. So that's the same, the first thing. But now we see at the national level how for logging concessions and ticket area. So when we're engaging that now, we see that Cameroon is not like the most of the Congo Basin country. They are not really ready employing credit of the law. The law, the country laws is not too strong. It's not ready for carbon credit. International law that came across the carbon credit evaluation so that if the country, if the space is not guaranteed for any change, please that just of disturbance, if the space is not guaranteed for any changes without for a long time, so before the carbon credit should be calculated, that means we are not guaranteed. So we face this problem because the countries, they say they have to need to do an evaluation of the level of deforestation of the country. They need all this document, they need other document, and this some of the documents are too heavy and need all the stakeholders from the state to do several meetings to validate all that. And most of the partners that came in, they are not willing to participate on that because they want a space where land is secure, space is secure without any changes, where at least they know that within 2 to 3 years or 20 years, this is the quantity of carbon credit that we can develop. So our work is to influence the country law so that it permit investors on carbon credit to see how they can come in. And we have worked most with the JICA, the Japanese corporation in Cameroon, the central region, to see how we can influence, the community can participate. And there was this project of voucher that that helped, that we implemented in the central region, some villages in central region, where at least communities use it to see how can reduce deforestation while doing agriculture, because it was something that like to help enable community to produce more in a small space than reduce their impact in the forest, in reduce cutting down forests. So that was one of the actions. And Ajesh also conduct mostly this land use, community land use planning at the level of the community to see how sustainable management of space and natural resources could be done at village space, and also participating mapping to understand the community's land tenure, community's local land tenure, that and evaluate the overlapping with state land allocation for forest management and other. So that by the end, each forest area that is being managed should not be having conflict with communities. And space, when a space has a conflict, the management is the management state could not be strong, and when all the party are not participating. So Cameroon have a potential, like the other Congo Basin, potential for carbon credit, but we are not really ready to go in for the carbon credit because of the law governing the natural resources or in the country, because because of those law, because of non participating all the actors, because if states the law are not flexible for the participation of each stakeholder at all level, it should be always difficult to embark the country in the climate in the carbon credit, where we see the most beneficial at the level of the community than the state level. So this is my contribution for this. I think much has been done for us in the agroecology network that we have part in Cameroon, where we had last December a show at the Central Region in Yaoundé, where we show every partner and civil society came on board to show what is about agroecology and how we can integrate. So, and that is the source of embarking really the country to that carbon credit. If we go through agroecology techniques, is a road, is a way for us to succeed for carbon credit, because the money for carbon credit is not from us, but we need to just to make sure that we respect some rules to be beneficial of that. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Giscard, for that wonderful presentation. The funds for carbon credit is available, but you must benefit from it if and only you are trying to protect the environment from, you are doing something that shows you are protecting or preserving the environment from this climate hazards. So thank you very much once more, Dr. Giscard. We're actually blessed with that short session, short presentation from yours. So Dr. Renuka has something to say from where we're going to move on to the next speaker.
Yes, we have Dr. Mallet here, Professor Mallet from South Africa, and she was not present yesterday, so I would like to invite her to present. And we will also like to check on Miss Ruth, who have she appeared here, then we can also invite her then. So first, Dr. Mallet will go. So is she here? Hello, can you hear us? You can open your mic and speak, please. Yeah, she's here. Yes.
Good afternoon.
Thank you very much. And please go on. Please introduce yourself, and then you can go on with your presentation.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for this opportunity, Dr. Renuka, of sharing the space and platform with all of you leaders. I think it's really a privilege and an honor for me to be here. And I'm going to share something that is very rare. I'm a human resources specialist. So I've noticed that in most cases, when we address this kind of issues, we do not include or touch the human element or the human aspect of it. I'm an author as well. I've written a couple of books, books for women empowerment in business, because I've realized that the issues that women face in business are a little bit different. So they help women to navigate all the issues that they face in business. I'm an international speaker as well. I am also a global women empowerment advocate. So that's the long and short of it. But what I would like to share with you today is the human resources aspect of what we are talking about, renewable energy, and all the other issues that affect that. Well, as far as human resources is concerned, because that's my area of specialty. Because we are in an era where we need to have that shift of how we do things, and where we need to collaborate as people as well and move cohesively as people. So the one or some few aspects, or one of the few aspects that I would like to share with you as far as this is concerned, is just to strengthen and to make it more effective, is the human capital. The first one is training, which I believe is very, very important to make sure that everyone understands what this is all about, because I believe that there are a lot of institutions that can contribute directly or indirectly. But it is the human resources aspect that is very important, just to make sure that everyone within organizations or within our communities is in alignment with this global mission and understands how this can be translated operationally. So I believe that training and making people understand what this is all about and what kind of outcomes are we trying to achieve, because in most cases we have these missions and visions, but we do not have the capacity or the ability to measure what we want to achieve, as people, so that everybody understands that it's a global mission. There's collaboration not only in one country, but there's collaboration in all other countries as well, as far as how people are empowered. And this is where human resources comes in, the part of training and making sure that that training is also aligned to the bigger mission of what we want to achieve, and is it aligned to the sustainable development goals. The other issue is the culture, that we have to make sure that our culture within organizations is also, it integrates all these aspects that we are trying to address, so that everybody is aware of that, whether it's a community organization, whether it's just a group of people who advocate for this type of causes, which are so crucial at this point in time, where we are as the world. So it is very important that we make sure that we integrate that into the culture, or in the culture of how we do things in organizations, in communities, so that everybody is aware, because at times we take it for granted and think that people understand, but at times people do not understand what this is all about. How do you translate this to operational terms on a daily basis and make it, a lifestyle, and have clear outcomes and deliverables and key performance areas and indicators of what we want to achieve, and so that everybody gets used to it. It's a workplace culture, it's a home culture, how we live as people, and it becomes a collaboration of some sort for everyone, and it becomes, or we have that spirit of cohesiveness where we make sure that we are aligned in terms of the way we think. And obviously it has to do with learning and unlearning. And I believe that we are in this era where we need to learn a lot of things and unlearn a lot of things, because of the consequences that we have seen, or the potential consequences that we have seen of not doing what we are supposed to do. The other thing is the policies within organizations, or the policies or governance that is aligned to all these great, things that were mentioned by speakers here, that it's human resources that can help in terms of policies, and just to make sure that everything is aligned and, people are or act according to all these great, things that we have been mentioning, just to make sure that we restore, or I'll say restore, because most of these things were not very important in the past, or were not taken seriously. Now that there is awareness, and we need to create more awareness, I believe that through HR that can be done and implemented. It's just, a reminder that we need to also touch that human element and not assume that all people understand what we are discussing here. And I'm also a learner here. It has a lot of terminology and, concepts that sometimes are a bit difficult to understand. I'm in the HR space, but I know how to change, the culture, or to shift the culture, or train people and create policies that align with all the things that we are discussing. Because if you do not have policies, we do not have corporate governance that supports this in terms of how we behave and how we do things as people, as a community, and even people who are not directly involved, then it may sort of affect, or it may not affect, but it becomes more effective when we do that, so that it's more sustainable. And what we are doing is also transferred. We also escalate or transfer it to the next generations, and it's here to stay. I was hoping to speak yesterday, so I planned something today later. My talk is just brief. I just wanted to just to remind everybody about that I'm in human resources. If you need something or guidance that has to do with the human capital, the capacity, the training, and the culture, or creating a culture of being cognizant of what is happening in our world as far as the environment, renewable energy is concerned, this is where I come in, and I'm willing to assist. I'm Komodo from South Africa, and I've benefited so much from all the speakers, and thank you so much for this platform and this opportunity. Thank you, Dr. Renuka, for organizing this platform. I've been listening even yesterday. It's such an eye-opener for me, and I've learned such a lot. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank you so much, Professor Komotso from South Africa. We are indeed blessed to have a human resource specialist amongst us, and we should understand that no matter the domain of work, no matter your area of specialty, you need a human resource manager. So it is very important at some point in time in business to take your personnel for human resource development. So once more, Professor Komotso, Ambassador, we are so grateful for having you on board. And a general notice to all our speakers, those will be coming on to speak. We have limited time. Today is the last day of the summit, and we have many people who are yet to speak. So Dr. Seraphine is going to come on board. You have limited time to present your work. So we invite Dr. Seraphine to present her work, her presentation. Dr. Seraphine, vous avez la parole. Ici.
Dr. Seraphine looks like she's not on board, but she confirmed to me that she's available.
It's okay. She's trying to log in. While Dr. Seraphine is trying to log in, we are going to listen to a short video. We're going to watch a short video that normally is going to boost our morale as climate advocates, as people who are ready to transform their society by changing waste to wealth. Dr. Renuka, could you please share the video so that we just, a very short video. Thank you very much, Dr. Renuka.
Namaskar. Today is a great and pleasant moment for National Institute of Open Schooling, as Prince Justin from Cameroon. Mr. Justin is representing Union Forms of Africa. He is with us. I welcome you, Mr. Justin, in NIUS studio. First, please let us know, when did you arrive in Delhi?
Thank you so much. I arrived Delhi on the 12th of April, and what brought me in Delhi, I think Africa and India having a similar way of life, having a similar cultural way of life, and India being one of those countries that have suddenly advanced and is capable of feeding their populations. I thought Union Farms of Africa could tap from the rich experience of a country like this. That was the very reason why I came to India, so that I'm able to connect with institutions, with organizations that are trying to innovate the educational space. because we have a big gap in Africa. We want to change the mindset of our people. We want to reboot our system of education. And we think for us to be able to achieve it, we need stronger organizations like this one that has been doing this over the years. Thank you.
Oh, very good. Mr. Justin, you have come for a very noble objective, and you have been in this organization for last 3-4 hours. What is your observation about National Institute of Open Schooling? What did you see here?
I think my few hours here has been like years here, because it just met the objectives of my visit to India, because I've been looking at this kind of innovations, and I think this National School of Open Learning has been doing a lot, and I'm hoping that together we can build such a structure with my partners in Africa.
Okay, you have seen a studio in NIUS. You visited audio studio, you visited a video studio. What is your observation about our these media facilities we are having here?
I want to really appreciate these facilities, especially where we are seated. I think it's so impressive, because when I walked around the facility and look at the job you guys have been doing here, I think it's really something that we should commend. I really want to appreciate this institution for the good work you guys have been doing, especially when it comes to meeting up with the challenges of what the threats that COVID has placed on the entire globe.
Very nice. And you have interacted with our very dynamic chairperson of this organization, Professor Sarosh Sharma ma'am, and one of my dynamic director of NIUS, Sri Vijay Kumarji. What kind of message you will take from here and you will convey in your country after visiting this organization?
Yes, the take-home message I am taking to my country, to Africa at large, is that we need to be aware that the system of education that we are currently using needs to be rebooted, it needs to be innovated. And I think the model of this institution where we are seated is one of the models that I would really recommend, especially to the Pan-Africa Globalists, where I am an ambassador, especially to the African Union, where I serve as a youth champion. These are some of the innovations that I pray that we are able to replicate in Africa as soon as possible. And I'm looking forward for a win-win partnership so that we can get this working as soon as we can.
Okay. Thank you, Prince Justin. You have given time for us and you visited our institution, and I hope you will achieve your objective, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much. That was a great one from the founder of Union Farms of Africa, Prince Justin Ajinga Tanyi, in an interview, in a press interview in India during one of his visits. So we are going to call on Numbo Seraphine, Dr. Numbo Seraphine, to present. Dr. Numbo Seraphine. Is she? I think she has joined.
Bonjour, Dr. Naya.
Voilà. Bonjour,
bonjour à
Dr.
toute l'équipe. Merci, bonjour à toute l'équipe.
Bonjour.
Bonjour, tu nous as manqué.
Merci. Veuillez m'excuser parce que j'ai eu de petits soucis ce matin. J'ai été très disponible ce matin. J'ai eu de petits soucis. Veuillez m'excuser. Je vous présente mes sincères excuses.
Ça va, d'accord.
Merci. Bon, mon travail porte sur le changement climatique et
Docteur Nombo, s'il vous plaît, tu vas parler doucement pour que je puisse traduire en anglais. Merci.
Je vous ai envoyé le document.
Je n'ai pas encore reçu.
Demandez à Docteur Moussa.
Je vais vous transmettre le
Il faut continuer. Tous les présentateurs ont peu de temps pour présenter, pour qu'on peut gagner le temps.
D'accord. D'accord, vous avez reçu mon document. Le
Oui,
document
docteur,
porte sur le changement climatique.
oui, je vous ai transmis ça. Vous pouvez partager ça, s'il vous plaît. Dr. Renuka can share if either Dr. Renuka or Dr. Naya can share this document.
Yes, yes, I have a presentation I will share.
Okay, that's great.
D'accord, je peux aller.
Oui, vous pouvez avancer.
Je peux continuer.
Oui, allez-y, docteur Kenfak.
D'accord, allez. Oui, merci encore. Mon travail porte sur le changement climatique et l'agriculture durable dans les zones agroécologiques du Cameroun.
Le
travail va suivre le plan.
The plan is
Mon
the
travail
plan.
va suivre. Alors.
Oui, avancez,
Oui, voilà
je vais
le plan. Voilà, ça suit ce plan, l'introduction, les différentes zones agroécologiques du Cameroun.
Introduction,
oui, voici le plan. Et on passe directement. Oui. Et on passe directement aux objectifs.
And from there, we move to the objective.
L'objectif général.
The general objective.
L'objectif général porte sur la... Oui, ça porte sur la détermination des facteurs climatiques qui affectent l'agriculture au Cameroun, tout en respectant l'objectif de développement durable numéro 7 de l'agenda de l'Union africaine.
The objective is the determination of the climate factors in Cameroon by respecting some laid down principles.
Oui, oui. Donc, au Cameroun, nous avons 5 grandes zones agroécologiques.
We have 5
qui sont la zone
agroecological zones in Cameroon.
La zone de savane guinéenne élevée, les hautes terres de l'Ouest, la forêt humide à pluviométrie monomodale et la forêt humide à pluviométrie bimodale.
We have 5 main agroecological zones in Cameroon as listed on your screen.
Bon, et puis nous allons passer à la brève introduction en disant que selon la FAO en 2023, la zone soudano-sahélienne est confrontée aux défis de dégradation des terres, des écosystèmes et du changement climatique.
According to Food and Agricultural Organization, the Sahelian region is faced with different degradation, soil degradation, and degradation of the ecosystem.
Ce qui fait que la zone soudano-sahélienne a été écologiquement évaluée comme étant la plus fragile au Cameroun, avec près de 5 millions d'hectares de terres fortement dégradées.
So the Sahelian region has been considered as the most fragile in Cameroon.
Oui, oui. Et les caractéristiques du changement climatique sont les vagues de chaleur, les périodes de sécheresse, les précipitations intenses. Et les vagues de chaleur sont de plus en plus fortes en Afrique, d'où 20 à 30% de pertes de récoltes environ. Et les épisodes de précipitations intenses, comme les fortes pluies, menacent l'agriculture telle que nous le voyons.
So the challenges of climate change in Cameroon, we have very serious precipitation like what we see on the screen.
Merci. Et comme conséquence de cette forte pluie, la susceptibilité de détruire les récoltes entières s'ils surviennent au mauvais moment. Et ça génère les risques d'inondation pouvant dévaster les terres cultivables. La hausse des niveaux de mer et érosion costale contribuent à la dégradation des sols.
So the consequences of these very heavy rains is it destroys harvest generally, and there is risk of flood, of flood during heavy rains and also soil erosion.
Oui, et là, faire face aux nouvelles conditions climatiques, le changement climatique amène de nouvelles conditions qui rendent certaines zones actuellement inexploitables pour l'agriculture. Et d'après le GIEC, 8% des terres agricoles actuelles deviendront climatiquement inadaptées d'ici 2100 et jusqu'à 30%. À cause de la chaleur et sécheresse, 50% de récoltes sont perdues.
So because of climate change, it brings new conditions in some zones. It makes some zones inexploitable via agriculture. And if you have 8% of agricultural space, it becomes very inadaptable.
Oui, nous avons un tiers des terres dans le monde entier qui sont dégradées.
1/3 of the world's lands are degraded.
Et en 2100, d'après les prédictions, en 2100, les températures auront augmenté de 2 à 4%. Les eaux d'une moyenne environ 2/3 des espèces végétales et animales auront disparu en 2100, d'après le GIEC.
So according to statistics, by 2100, world's temperature will increase from 2 to 4%. And also there's going to be 2/3 of vegetable species and animals will disappear according to these statistics.
Donc, la planète est à bout de souffle à cause de réchauffement, épuisement des ressources, déforestation, la perte de la biodiversité, la dégradation des écosystèmes est parfois irréversible.
So you see that the climate is actually suffering from all these climate challenges.
Et tout ceci dû aussi à toutes les terres qui sont coupées, et les bois, nous voyons comment la déforestation.
So all this is because of we have deforestation, the cutting down of trees.
Oui, et comme vous le savez, l'agriculture constitue le pilier de l'économie africaine et compte pour approximativement 60% de sa main-d'œuvre, 20% de la totalité de ses exportations.
Agriculture is actually the main source in most of our countries.
Dans l'impact direct du changement climatique sur l'agriculture, comment 10 milliards d'êtres humains vivront sans détruire la planète? C'est ça le défi, le challenge. Comment 29 millions de Camerounais vivront sans détruire l'environnement? Il est nécessaire d'adopter les pratiques de gestion durable des sols, telles que soulignées dans la Charte mondiale des sols révisée en vue de la préservation de l'environnement.
So the main challenge in agriculture is that how do we live in a zone like this without destroying the environment? So we see that it is very important to do a soil test.
Et pour cela, nous voyons les phénomènes d'adaptation. Il faut créer les phénomènes d'adaptation.
So we need to create adaptation policies.
Oui, nous devons adapter les pratiques. Nous devons adopter les pratiques adaptées pour protéger nos sols, les écosystèmes et la biodiversité et contribuer au stockage de carbone pour améliorer la santé des sols.
We need practical adaptation policies to protect the environment and also how to manage carbon management.
Et dans son rapport, le GIEC souligne que l'adoption des mesures d'atténuation durable dans les secteurs de l'agriculture, de la foresterie et de l'utilisation des terres peut favoriser la réduction des émissions à grande échelle de carbone et l'élimination du CO2.
So this GIEC, their findings shows that if we can go into this soil testing, take it seriously, it's going to prevent environmental degradation and carbon emissions.
Donc, ces solutions sont vraiment rentables et ça pourra être mis en œuvre à grande échelle et même jusqu'à couvrir toute la planète entière.
So these solutions, if implemented, is going to be helpful for Africa and the world at large.
Donc, nous voyons ici cette image. Et merci pour votre aimable attention.
So we see all these findings and we want to say thank you for your kind attention. So that was a good one from Dr. Numbo Seraphine from the University of Chang. Cameroon. Her presentation was on climate change and sustainable agriculture in agroecological zone of Cameroon. So we don't know if we have any question. You have a question on climate change and sustainable agriculture in agroecological zones. It could be in Cameroon, in Africa, in wherever you are in the world. Kindly ask your question. Dr. Numbo Seraphine is an expert in that domain, and she is going to answer your question. Welcome on board, Dr. Numbo. Any question?
No question, but a comment. Of course, I know that soil is the material here in agriculture. So we need to enhance our soil quality, understand our soil first of all, and then improve its quality. And only the carbon sequestration process can improve the quality, and that can help us to grow more trees and better productivity in crops. So certainly, I would just remind everyone that GSFN had a whole big summit on soil and how it matters to everyone in every sectors. And it was the first summit which we did with Pakistan, because Pakistan is also having the same problem. 17% of its soil is being degraded every year, and it is the vast, biggest problem of desertification around the world. And this is increasing so fast that we need to understand, we need to manage our soil, and it is the most material thing that we need to manage. And that summit went on for 7 days. That was the highest importance to people. Like, they were so encouraged to talk about it. And so I think it is equally important and significant issue for Africa as well. So thank you for sharing your this presentation. Thank you.
Okay, once more, Dr. Numbo, you're welcome. And so today is a great day. I think the ladies are taking the lead to tell us that we need we need collaboration between the different genders to be able to change our planet. So we are going to call on the next speaker, who is going to be talking about enhancing waste management and circular economy practices. So we call on Shekina Roda from St. Louis University of Cameroon to take the floor. Ms. Shekina Roda, you can take the floor and present.
I think we have received one video which we need to, but it is for biodiversity, so we can play in the next session. Sorry.
All right, Ms. Shekina Roda, you have the floor.
Thank you so much, Dr. Gazel. Thank you so much, Ma. Greetings to everyone. I'll be sharing my screen, please.
Present yourself and then your presentation. Thank you.
Okay.
Kindly mute if you are not the one to present, please, dear participant.
Okay. Please, Dr. Gazel, can you help share the screen from your end?
Forward it to me, please.
If that's possible. Okay.
It's okay. It's good. Dr. Renuka, forwarded it to you.
Okay, please, can you help share the screen for me, please, Dr. Gazel?
Yes, that's done. Just start presenting.
Okay, thank you so much. Once again, greetings to everyone, and it's a great privilege to be here among great minds. I am Shekina Roda Chioma Amaka from St. Louis University, Cameroon, pursuing a master's in public health. I'm here to present to you about enhancing waste management, and circular economy practices. The next slide, please. The next slide, please. Okay. Yes, I can see your screen. Thank you so much. Please, can we move to the next slide?
Just go ahead.
Okay. The slides are no longer visible. Thank you so much. So my presentation outline on this subject is going to run from the introduction through to waste, what is waste all about, the sources, the types, the effects on the environment, waste management, the circular economy, that is, what is the concept of circular economy, principles and cycles of that system, and we're going to have a conclusion. Next slide, please. Introduction. When we're talking about waste management and the circular economy, we're made to understand that human beings make use of several substances like every day, and eventually they yield waste out of them, substances they say they no longer use. And it is commonly said that what is poisonous to one person might be food for another person. So this presentation presents us with the opportunity to see waste materials as potential useful and finished products for our day-to-day activities and things that can be of great help to us. The next slide, please. I'd like to explain further. Waste can be defined as everything that no longer has a use or a purpose and needs to be disposed of. Another definition says it is garbage or refuge or sludge from water waste plants, water treatment plants, and which can yield air pollution, which can yield water pollution, including solid, liquid, semi-liquid, and other gaseous materials. These can come from industrial sources, commercial sources, mining, agricultural operations, and from community activities. Next slide, please. Yes, the next slide. We want to see the sources of waste. The next slide, please. We want to see the sources of waste. Of course, we all know that there are several sources of waste. We have waste from agricultural activities, waste from industries. We have waste from radioactive activities, radioactive substances, waste from medical activities, waste from demolition of debris, waste from production enterprises, production companies, household waste, municipal waste, all of which can be solid or liquid, biodegradable or non-biodegradable. Can we move forward, please? Yes, the next slide. This slide actually explains that the production of waste depends on how active that particular environment is, how active that community is. And this image gives us a brief summary of the various sources of waste. We have waste products from mining activities. We have waste products from agriculture and forestry, from industries, from households and commercial or government activities, from demolition at construction sites, and also water waste treatment. Can we move to the next slides? In all of this, we are made to understand that the waste we have, we're made to understand that the waste we have can be biodegradable waste and non-biodegradable waste. When we talk about biodegradable waste, we talk about the waste that can easily decompose. And this is usually in the kitchen, usually from homes. They include remains of garden waste and body waste products. This can also be called moist waste. On the other hand, we have non-biodegradable waste. The next slide, please. The non-biodegradable wastes. These are the ones, for example, newspapers, broken glasses, and plastics. They do not decompose easily, and they can also be referred to as dry waste. And we know that as human beings and other living organisms, we produce so many forms of this waste into the environment. Can we go to the next slide, please? There are several negative and hazardous effects of waste in our environment. We may not see it immediately, but in the long run, they cause a lot of negative activities. First of all, there is air pollution. Then we have water pollution. We also pollute our soils where we are supposed to plant and harvest. Eventually, we get waterborne diseases, airborne diseases. The also release of radioactive substances into the atmosphere. All of these are results of unmanaged waste, waste that has not been properly kept. Can we go to the next slide, please? Yes, the next slide. We want to talk about waste management. Remember, the topic of this presentation is about waste management and the circular economy. Waste management comprises various mechanisms that are put in place in order to handle and discard properly our waste. It also deals with recycling of waste. When we talk about recycling of waste, it entails processing of waste or used products into new and other useful products. This enables the control of air, water, and land pollution and helps in conserving natural resources. Yes, the circular economy. The circular economy, unlike our usual normal economy where you take, you use, and you dump, circular economy, as the name implies, is a concept that highlights the needs for products, materials, and raw materials to remain in the economy, if possible, but at the same time, generating waste should be minimized. So the circular economy comes to explain that in as much as we make use of substances and produce waste out of them, how do we ensure that all these activities are taking place, whereas there is still minimizing of the waste being produced? The next slide, please. Circular economy can therefore be defined as a production and consumption model that involves sharing, borrowing, reusing, repairing, refurbishing, and recycling existing materials and products for as long as possible. The next slide, please. Of course, we're made to understand that since the 1970s, that's where the circular economy paradigm got its roots, whereby the scientists had to gather together around the Club of Rome, and they carried out a research concerning the future of the Earth's natural environment and its limited raw material resources and the place which human beings occupy in the ecosystem. Please. Okay, thank you so much. This diagram clearly illustrates to us the difference between a linear economy, which apparently is what we have right now, and a circular economy. Unlike a linear economy, in the circular economy, yes, we still have the raw materials, we have a design, we have manufactured materials can be recycled, and that is the beauty of the circular economy. The circular economy has three main principles, which is to limit waste production, circular products and materials, and also to regenerate nature. Of course, we want to limit the production of waste. We want to circulate products by recycling them, and by so doing, we can be able to regenerate new other items. So this is a butterfly diagram of the circular economic system to help us understand the inner circles and the outer circles of what happens in circular economy. We're meant to understand that the left-hand side comprises reusable items, that is biodegradable items, that's a biological cycle. And the right-hand side of the circular economy entails those that we can just use them, maybe use them for production, but they cannot decompose. That is what the circular economy seeks to do, to create that difference. The next slide, please. And also, we need to know that several countries or places have taken the bold step to carry out transformation of waste substances. For example, in Sweden, there is heat generated in wastewater fermentation processes, which is used in heat pumps. Again, in Sweden, they have levied taxes for carbon dioxide production for companies that produce it without a co-generation of heat and electricity. Of course, in Poland, they also have installations of producing biogas just from municipal waste. In Cameroon, exactly where I am, we have the West A, among others, which has recruited several persons to enable the recycling of plastic waste. Yes, we are going to see that Plastic waste can be used in producing paving tiles. Raising community awareness has also been done by the Waste Aid organization. They work with the local governments in Douala and the mayors, and as such, they are really building up something great, which gives a new mindset to all the individuals about waste disposal and waste management. The next slide, please. It is on these that I'd like to conclude that in as much as human beings keep utilizing various substances and producing waste, there is a need for proper waste management, because whatever we might call waste can eventually be useful if only we recycle it. It's on this note that I would like to say thank you for listening. I'm very grateful for your keen attention.
Thank you very much, Ms. Shekina Rada from the St. Louis University of Cameroon, a public health expert, and she has given a wonderful presentation on waste management and circular economy practices. We don't know if we have any question, contribution. Thank you, all those who are giving thumbs up. Thank you very much for, thank you, we appreciate. I think Ms. Prince Ajinga Justa have a question. You can raise your virtual hand if you have a question. Prince Justin, over to you.
Thank you for that eloquent presentation. I have just one question. I want to ask you, coming from the health sector, when you look around Cameroon, you find a lot of private health facilities. They are growing every day, and I've never seen an incinerator facility in any of those private health facilities. Even in 80% of the new government facilities, it's difficult to find those incinerators. So now I'm asking you, how do we use the waste that these hospitals are generating on day-to-day basis to turn them into what? Thank you so much.
So our presenter, Shekina Roda, that question is addressed to you. How do we use waste from the health sector to transform it into wealth?
Okay, thank you so much for the question, and thanks for your keen attention this far. Well, the waste products from health sectors vary, as in we have the metals, we have the plastics, and we have the biodegradable waste. I know, as you said, you've not seen any incinerator or so. Well, at least I have seen that. So to begin with, we use incinerators to do away with the ones that we can no longer make use of. For example, the metals, the syringes, those needles found in them. And then plastics can be recycled. Before these wastes are being disposed, they have to be treated. For example, it has been used to handle or to work on someone with HIV, other people with various contagious diseases. They have to be treated, sterilized before being disposed of or before being recycled. So plastics can be recycled, and then the ones that are biodegradable, for example, I remember where I volunteered in the southwest region of Cameroon. They have a placenta pit. That is an example of a biodegradable product, a placenta pit. They are being discarded over there. What about the blood? Blood that we get when we are working on patients, we also discard them where they are going to degrade. So those are some measures which we can employ in order to handle waste products from medical environments. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I only want to congratulate her by presenting so very good, well-presented presentation and putting the point straight through the audience. So thank you very much. You were very, very clear. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Okay, thank you very much once more. I don't know if you have any question, but there seem to be no question. So it means the lessons were well received, well digested. And as we move on, let's remember waste are opportunities that needs to be transformed into wealth. So before we proceed, Dr. Renuka has a short video to share with us. As we listen to the video, as we follow the video, let's remember that we all are champions of changing waste to wealth in our different areas, in our different communities, in our different nations,
Everyone,
and the world at large.
everyone, I hope. Hi everyone, I hope you're doing well. My name is Olivia Karp. I would like to first say I'm so excited to be part of this conference and have the opportunity to share a 1-2 minute speech about the impacts of climate mobility and biodiversity. Unfortunately, I cannot be there. I'm really not feeling the best, but I just filmed a video of myself to kind of give my input in my research. Just a bit of background about me. My name is Olivia Karp. I am from Canada. I've been in the climate mobility space for almost about 2 years now. I am a nonprofit founder of a nonprofit called the Climate Mobility Community Action Network, which is a network that works towards issuing topics from climate mobility and displacement through education, collaboration, and participation. And other work I've done in regards to climate mobility was I got to do a research paper with Global Affairs Canada looking at the impacts of climate mobility and the Great Lakes region and other stuff like that. So when it comes to climate mobility, it refers to the movement to the people forced to relocate due to the impacts of climate mobility, like rising sea levels, extreme weather events, or droughts, and biodiversity. Biodiversity refers to the variety of life on Earth and the connection between the aims of climate change impacts and mobility of their ecosystems. So when it comes to kind of the climate change, the impacts it can have on biodiversity, specifically, it can impact them by altering the ecosystems and causing species to migrate or decline, or this can be biodiversity in the ocean, on land, etc. So when it comes to the key points about the relationship between climate mobility and biodiversity, so an example of this can be the Pacific Island regions or just island regions in general that have a lot of diverse biodiversity growing on the land or in the ocean. It can impact the ecosystem. So basically this can impact people having to move because of climate change, because of the biodiversity loss. This can also impact the loss of ecosystem services that people rely on when it comes to, the impacts of biodiversity and climate mobility. And also when it comes to species and the movement of species and the decline of species because of the impacts of climate change. All these different factors can impact people not only to migrate, but also to try to find different ways of adapting to the climate. Such things like nature-based solutions is one way to address the effects of climate mobility and biodiversity as a way to build natural habitats and protect the environment of people migrating as a way to adapt to climate change. Once again, thank you so much for this opportunity. If you want to learn more about me, go to my website at www.oliviacart.com to learn more about me, and have a great rest of your day. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think it is a good time to stop. Do you want to just give a closing remark, Dr. Gazelle? And then after 5 minutes, we can start with the new session.
Okay, we want to thank all those who have been with us from yesterday for the Global South Summit on transforming waste to wealth and circular economy practices. Before I proceed, Robert Kumar, hand is raised up. Over to you, Mr. Robert.
Thanks a lot for this opportunity. I'm very happy to listen the new latest presentation about the biodiversity conservation. I'm Rohit Kumar. I'm a disaster risk reduction and governance expert here in Nepal. I want to say one thing highlight here is we are doing many things in the SFDRR, Paris Agreement, and SDGs, but we are missing many things about the biodiversity conservation. So we need to raise our voice for the favor of the biodiversity conservation and the convention what highlighted the many aspects of the biodiversity conservation. Just I'm highlighting this aspect. I did research in this aspect. So we need to give a more focus on. We need to see the over the around over the border. But we need to forget the limited area of biodiversity conservation. So we need to raise the voice globally, how to save the lives and livelihood, not only save the lives and livelihood, and how to save the biodiversity. This is the important thing for us. That's all my view. That's all. Thank you. Over to you.
Okay, thank you very much, Robert. We need to see the light of biodiversity. Michael Wanjuzi, you have something to say?
Yes. Well, I just want to thank the organizers for this very insightful gathering, and some of these things we've been discussing, you cannot do it in isolation. We need to work together in order to achieve the SDGs in our respective countries and globally. So I encourage participants to make use of the resources we have gathered from here to benefit our community. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Michael, for that compliment. We don't know if any other person has something to say. If we don't have any other participants with something to share or say or a compliment, we are going to have a short break of 10 minutes. Thereafter, we continue back on the same link.
7 minutes.
Yeah, a short break of 7 minutes. In Cameroon is 12:53. So by 5 minutes after 1, we are going to join back on the same link. Thank you so much.
Stay on the same link. Stay on the same link. We are just pausing for a while.